Can you sit in that chair where you're working at? I don't care that we're live and I'm talking like this. I don't care. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, that's good. So.
Yeah, I can sit. What's up?
Nice.
What's up?
Nice.
You are live, my friend.
All right, so we are live on the Los Caidos Light Up podcast, special event, whatever you want to call it. It feels so good to be back from, oh my goodness, everything that's happened. I don't think I need to expand on it anymore. And just really, really great to be here at a phenomenal spot in Middletown, Delaware. We're going to talk about it in a second or two. People are coming in off the street, 75 degrees. The bar is packed. Of course, they want the drinks first, so they'll be down here in a minute. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks everybody for supporting Los Caidos Cigars. We're going to have about a 6.5 hour event, but the live podcasting is only going to be for about 4 hours. I've got such a special group of people on here. First, I'm going to just talk for probably 5 or 10 minutes, but with the dude who's hosting this podcast right now, Ming Chen. And if you don't know about him, I'll very briefly say, great guy. Met him through another guy who was podcasting, and then Ming and I have been working together for, about a year now, Ming?
Yeah, about a year. I think more. I'm going to jump over there with you, so I don't have to be back here the whole time.
Cool.
So hold on.
He's coming from behind the runnings of the machine. You could fit.
Yeah, I'm small, right? What's up? This place is amazing. We're at Cigar Sessions, Middletown, Delaware.
Yeah.
You take me to the craziest places, my friend.
I do, but none crazier than an outdoor basketball court on Christmas.
That was good. What was the name of that event? The memorial.
Yeah, the unofficial 27th annual, I think, WOBM Christmas Classic.
Yeah, for sure. That was fun, but. I've never been to Middletown, Delaware, that I know of.
Yeah,
maybe
you may have been, but you just don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, tonight I might wake up on a golf course here, surrounded by cigar butts and
that's my goal.
And empty highball glasses.
That's my goal.
But, yeah, that was fun.
But honestly, you're a humble dude, and I want people here and people listening to really get to know a little bit about you, right? So you and I met through podcasting. I didn't know, and you remember, I didn't know who the hell you were. And all of a sudden this dude was like, hey, yeah, well, this is what he does. It wasn't until I brought you to the Cigar Club in Long Branch, holy smokes, where Angelo, who never met you before, goes, holy shit, you're Ming Chen. And you're like, yes, I am, and nice to meet you.
I don't get that a lot, but when I do, it feels good.
Yeah, so it was funny for me because I just knew you as like a friend of mine who does podcasts. So all of a sudden when he hit me with that, he's like, oh my gosh, you're Ming Chen. Yeah. I was like, are you famous? Like, do people know you? So talk to people like, so I'm going to talk to you about the podcasting.
Okay.
Right? You came, you set up. It's an unbelievable studio. Not everybody can see what I see. I mean, you wired me up. I said, listen, dude, I'm a cigar smoker. I'm going to be having a drink or two. I don't feel like holding the microphone. You're like, I got something for that. Hold on. You wired me. It's wireless. It's beautiful. It's awesome. So you are really becoming a student. Seriously, all kidding aside, you're becoming a student at being a great podcaster. That's what I know you as. Talk to the people here at Cigar Sessions and people watching live. Talk to us a little bit about your acting career. I think you know Kevin Smith. No, seriously. Yeah. Talk briefly. I'm not asking for a whole night. Just talk about
I know. I laugh when you call me an actor, though. I fell backwards into working with Kevin. I was a fan of Kevin Smith. If you know Kevin Smith, he made the movie Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma, Chasing Amy. You may know the names Jay and Silent Bob. I was just a big fan of his. I turned my fandom into a job working with him. And I did it. I did it because it was something that I loved. I loved him. I loved his movies, and I just happened to do something that he noticed, and he ended up hiring me. And I did it at a time where that was not very common. It was 1996. The internet was, it was. I think we had email back then, but there was no. Can you imagine a world where there's no Facebook, no Instagram, no, what you're watching this on now? That didn't exist. No Twitter. No Amazon, no Google. Can you imagine a world without any of that? That's what it was. So for him to find me was pretty, it was a little bit on my part, but it was him being forward thinking and actually going on and seeking that.
That's awesome.
And then going, hey, I like what this kid did. I built a website for him. I like what this kid did. You built a website for him. He didn't say that. You built a website for him. So you built a website for Kevin Smith, and he said, I like what this kid did. Yeah, I did it independently just because I was a fan. And he ended up tracking me down and ended up hiring me a couple years later. ended up getting me into podcasting, ended up putting me on TV. So it's, I feel bad because I get asked to go to a lot of schools like, hey, can you motivate these kids? Tell them your story. And I'm like, okay, well, when I was growing up, all I wanted to do was play video games and read comic books and watch Star Wars. And my parents and all the adults who thought they knew better was like, no one's ever going to pay you to do that.
Right.
And now they were dead wrong.
Right.
There are video gamers out there making millions. There are YouTube kids out there making
that's,
millions.
There's a great video out there by a cat named Alan Watts from the 60s out in California. And it's like something about do what you love, don't do it for the money, or if money was no object, type of thing. And that's what he says. So he says if you're 16 and you follow your passion, whatever it is, you do it for 10 years, you'll be a pro at age 26 years old, and people will come to you for that advice.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with you guys with comic books. So
I think the problem is most people listen to the adults like, oh yeah, you're right. I mean, I should go into, and I don't want back in accounting or tax reform or whatever. But then that if you're into that, awesome.
Yep.
But those are the traditional kind of real jobs, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to watch movies and play video games and read comics for the rest of my life.
Division I basketball coach, high-level finance, high school vice principal. I have a doctorate. I'm now smoking cigars with you on a podcast.
Because this is what you love doing.
There's something to be said for doing what you love to do.
This is what you love doing, and I love it. And
look at you. You're looking at it. I'm watching myself on his phone right now.
Yeah, it's closed. I just wanted to make sure we looked okay, and we look pretty good.
Do I have anything on my nose?
No, you look very good, my friend. So
what I want to talk to you too before we have other people. We got so many people coming on tonight. I'm really excited about it. But
that's awesome.
So I did my research. Out of respect for you, I don't want to take you in our relationship for granted. You were on that AMC show, Comic Book.
I was.
7 seasons or 6 seasons?
7 seasons, yeah. 96 fun-filled episodes.
What was that like? What was it like to be on TV? Like, do you get the makeup done and all that stuff?
Not every day, but there were days where we did get makeup done. Yeah, there are shots where they used $100,000 high-def 4K cameras.
Get out.
So they got very close. So, you have to look flawless. Well, as flawless as possible. No matter what they do, you can't fix, this ruddy complexion. This is 46 years of, hard living. No, I got Asian genes, though, so I look young. But still, they got to put the makeup on. And so it wasn't every day. It wasn't every day, but on certain days, we did get the makeup put on. Got the nice lighting, got the high-def cameras.
That's not one of those cameras, is it? Like, people aren't going to see, like, the inside of my nostrils, are they?
Not the one I have here. Right, this is not a $100,000 camera. This is a $1,000 camera. So.
And now let's transition because people could research. I'm sure Google you now that we talked about a comic book man, everything else. Get to know who you are. Talk to me about your transition. I guess they canceled the show.
They did.
From what I read, and then you went into, because don't forget I had your co-star Mike Zapchik on for one of the podcasts.
Yes.
That Holy Smokes, right?
Yes.
So you transition, and I want you really talking to people about this. You started what's called a Shared Universe podcast studio, which is how we first met.
Yeah.
And now I know you have the first studio was in Eatontown. Then you went to Bell Labs, Bellworks, which is phenomenal. We just met in your office up there, which was beautiful. But talk to the people about like what is entailed with your podcasting. Do you love it? What are you looking to do with it? Like this is a time for you to make your plug.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you've done so much for me. We're going to be traveling the country. We've already traveled.
We've got dates.
Right?
We've got plans. We got ambition. We got we got stuff coming up.
I know that we're going all over the country together this year.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. But what are your goals? How can people and the listeners help you build what you're trying to build?
So I've been podcasting about 10, 11 years now. I got into it because Kevin Smith got into it. He wanted a platform where he could say anything and start his own show and call all the shots. And there wasn't anyone above him to tell him what he could and couldn't do. And this is the format to do it. If you start a podcast, it's your own show. You book your own guests. You talk about whatever you want. You can swear your head off for 2 hours if you want. You can say whatever you want. I love that freedom.
I've never cursed on a podcast.
No, and you don't need.
I'm kidding. I'm totally. That's
that's you. If you curse, that's.
He knows.
If you curse, great. That's you.
I think
real.
that's overrated. It's just another
That's
word.
real, and and we started a podcast to do the same thing. We talk about pop culture, comics, video games,
Dude,
all
talk
this
about
stuff.
everything. I actually started buying your boys beer Rossi?
Ross Brewing. Yeah, Ross Brewing. Yeah.
I actually went to
Good
Bell
stuff.
Liquors in Long Branch
Yeah.
on my way to Holy
Yep.
Smokes and picked up a 6-pack. Like, you heard of
Yeah.
this? I said, only because of my friend Ming on the
Yeah.
Shared Universe podcast, but
Yeah.
I'm buying this beer from now on, and I have.
Shout out to Ross Brewing. Yes.
Shout out to Ross Brewing, because based on your podcast, I really strongly started supporting them, and it's good beer.
Yeah, and I met him, and you know, we podcast once a week, but you know, and he's in the same stuff I am, so it's natural that we do a podcast every Wednesday night called Point Blank.
Yep.
It's me, Mike Zapsik, it's Ross, and a couple of his buddies who don't even live here. One's in LA, one's in Chicago, but we bring everybody together through the power of the internet.
Yeah,
and,
I've watched it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Absolutely awesome. Are you enjoying it?
I love it. But you know, we started the studio because we were like, listen, we have our own podcast. Let's show other people how much fun this is. Let's get other people involved in this. If you love cigars, if you love, you know, if you want to interview people, if you love to motivate people, you have a small business and you want to talk to other small business owners. You know, you like cocktails, whatever. You like traveling, you like Disney, whatever.
That's the beautiful thing about podcasts. No matter what you like, you could get on a podcast and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
and
awesome.
it's your form to talk about what you love.
Yep.
It's great. And
Yep.
and you know, I didn't even want to do this. I hesitated because Kevin asked me to start a podcast. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to talk about? You're famous already. People are going to listen to you. You're a great storyteller. You have stories about you know Ben Affleck screwing up on set or like yelling at people, whatever, or you guys hanging out with you know, famous people. That people want to listen to that. What am I going to talk about? He's like, you could talk about whatever you love, and you'll find your audience will be all the people who love the same things that you do.
Yeah,
that you will find that audience, and he was right.
Yep.
He was
So,
right.
what I think is funny is I guarantee dollars to donuts. If I were to bet you money right now, never did you think you would be in as many cigar shops and clubs as you've been in because of me.
No, it was funny. You know, once I met you, I was introduced to the amazing Los Caidos, and my business partner, Mike Zapsik, big cigar smoker.
Yep.
But I was like, hey, I met this guy Steve. He's got a cigar company. He was like, oh, I just quit. I'm like, well, you don't want to quit now. Do not quit. Whatever you do.
Yeah.
So you took me up to, and you mentioned the name. I don't even know
it's out.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it.
Well, they wear jackets outside, and it's well known. So yeah, everyone knows about it.
There's a club, and you took me there. It was wonderful, and I was like, Mike, I can't tell you where I just was, but do not quit because one day you will end up there. We'll make sure. We
can say the name of it, but we can't give out the location.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But Mike was up there, did the show. He had one, and I don't know. I think I shared this with you last time I saw you.
Yeah, I heard you guys hung up there.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it was really nice.
He held his own up there. As I know, there's a lot of ball busting up there. A lot of, yeah, for sure.
So what are your goals, or how can the audience right now try to help you?
So if you have a podcast, amazing. I love meeting up fellow podcasters.
Even an idea. Let me interject.
We have fellow podcasters here,
and he's coming on next. But seriously, before you say if you have a podcast, even if you don't have a podcast like me, if you have an idea to have a podcast,
I will help you get started. A lot of people are intimidated. Like, what gear do I buy? Do I need microphones? Where do I upload it? We take care of all that for you. Just come and talk.
Yep.
And talk passionately. I want to hear what you're into. I want to help you launch your show. I want to help your show get listened to, get distributed, get an audience.
How can people find you, Ming?
Our website is ashareduniverse.com.
So ashareduniverse.com.
Yep, and that's all the social media too: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. A Shared Universe.
Awesome.
And awesome. The goal is to have studios. We have two physical studio locations,
which I can't go into because we smoke on every show, so that's why I have to bring your ass out to places
I'll
like
have
this.
to, the next studio, when I get to build my dream studio, we'll have an outdoor podcast area where we can cater.
I'll fund it. I'll sponsor Los Caidos. You ain't gonna have any other cigar
Caidos
guy in there.
Outdoor podcast studio. That's perfect.
In Florida.
We could do it in Florida.
Texas.
Yeah. Definitely Texas, but Florida. I'm gonna request Tampa or Miami, or both. We could do both, for sure. We're working up to that, so for sure.
Well, Ming, I just want to thank you so much for always being there, support me. I know that you're not a huge cigar smoker, but you put yourself in this. What about this place tonight, man?
This is amazing. We may have to swing the camera on and give it a quick tour. I see the giant walk-in humidor at one end. I love cigars. I think dark wood, old-fashioned, humidors, and leather, and that's exactly what we have here.
Yeah.
There's a bar here.
Yeah, I know. We're not allowed to do that in Jersey.
Yeah, we can't do that in Jersey. So what do you do? Cross the border.
It's only 2 hours away. cross the border, get a hotel room, you're good.
But it doesn't make sense. Why don't they have this in New Jersey? This makes perfect sense.
Stop. We're having a good show. We're having a good show.
Okay, this is a whole nother podcast.
That's Josh Habersky coming up next from the PCA.
I apologize.
He's going to talk about that. So the guy to blame,
yes,
the lobbyist for the cigar industry,
okay,
the guy talking to everybody in D.C.
Okay.
He came up from D.C., Premium Cigar Association lobbyist, the guy fighting for us.
Amazing.
Is on the show tonight. Josh Habersky, he's sitting right there.
Okay.
So if everybody in cigar sessions right now, or anybody watching New Jersey, if you want to send any hate mail or bust balls, his name is Josh Habersky.
No
He's
hate.
Wolf of K Street on
No
Instagram. Tell him to get his ass moving. We want alcohol served with cigars in New Jersey. And you could hit him when we're up here live. Mingle and read out all the comments like, hey, asshole, get the alcohol going. Like, hey, jerk off, get moving. What am I paying you for? Just all tobacconists get online and start reaming them.
I'm just saying, cigar and a scotch, doesn't fine scotch. That's what being a gentleman's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And we have gentlemen in New Jersey so I'm just saying. We had two gentlemen right here.
That's
man.
right. That's right. Well, Ming, thank you so much for everything. I look forward to spending the next couple hours with you.
I'll be here.
I wanted you up front, and I wanted people to know you are the guy running this whole thing tonight. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Los Caidos for life, my friend.
Yeah, baby.
Los Caidos for life. Honor the fallen.
That's the next T-shirt with Ross Brewing. We'll do some
I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, man.
All right, Ming. Talk to you. Thanks, brother. All right, well, that was Ming. I hope you got to get to know a little bit more about him, and then I might have to break up a conversation to get Pat up here. Hey, Pat, come on up, man. You're next. Come on up. If you don't know Pat, he's the owner of this spot. He was very supportive of me the first time we met at another place he owns, and then we reconnected here. He's very, very shy, and it's taking him about an hour and a half to get up here because he really doesn't want to come on, I don't think, but he's going to have to because he's humble as hell and he's done a lot of great things and he supports a ton of people, supports a lot of great community activities. So I just wanted him to come on up here and get on. So just grab that mic. I have the wireless. He only has the one wireless. I apologize. I know I should give it up. I should give it up. He's working on that. So everybody, this is Pat. He owns Cigar Sessions. I have to tell you right now, it is one of the most beautiful places I've been in, and anyone who knows me, I went all across the country last year, and other cigar manufacturers, they do the same thing, and there are a lot of beautiful places. This is a beautiful, beautiful place. So without further ado, Pat, say hi to everybody and tell us about what your interests are as far as the cigar community, the two spots you have around here, what made you do this one, and then I am going to get into the lesser known things about you.
Hello everyone, Pat Singh here. I own a couple of lounges. The one that we are right now currently here is Cigar Sessions, and the other one I have at State Line Lounge up in Newark. I get into the cigars like 3 to 4 years back when I just started like smoking, and I really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I'm really passionate. You can't hear me?
No, that's better. You got to hear it. Yep.
So I started the other part of the business into the tobaccos like about 16, 17 years ago. So that was my core business, but slowly, progressively, I started getting into the cigars. So it just took me like 4 years. I brought a new place, I built it up the whole thing, and I have enough space, storage empty back in there. So all of a sudden, like a lot of customers come and say like, why don't you get into make like a walk-in humidor? I was like, I don't have no knowledge about the cigars, not that much of a knowledge. I know a little bit about the cigars, but not a whole lot about it. So I started off with the cabinets. So I started bringing in a few cabinets at a time. The demand keep on increasing. People are keep on increasing. Like, this is the one thing that I really always do it for my customers. I'm a customer's guy. So if you walk into my establishment and you say like, Pat, can you grab this cigar for me? Regardless if nobody's going to buy it, I'll come and still buy it. I'll bring it. I'll bring that one particular cigar. If you really want to do, I'll bring it. So that's how I work. So I really look after my customers. So 2 cabinet becomes 4, 4 becomes 6, 6 becomes 8, 8 becomes 10. Then all of a sudden I'm running out of room.
Yeah.
So all the storage, then I came up with this plan. I said like, you know what? Let's build a walk-in humidor. We establish a walk-in humidor. We bring in the inventory. People really love the establishment. The people really like the selection of it. That walk-in humidor leads to the lounge. So same way, consumer comes, they say like, you know what, you got space empty. Why don't you think about doing a lounge here? I say, yeah, good idea. Why not? So I build the lounge, and from there onwards, the day I build that lounge, I always have this view, what I created here at the Cigar Sessions, that I want establishment like this, that to be known in the entire state of Delaware. So that's my creation. That's what I was working from last 2.5 years on this thing. It came out, as you know, as all my members here, all my guys who supported me throughout the very first day. It's there. It's a members lounge.
Mission
it's
accomplished.
It's about them.
I'm going to give it up for that. Man.
Yeah, it's about them.
I'm going to give it up for that.
So that's my story of it.
So let's talk real quick. How many lockers did you start with?
We started off with 90 lockers.
And how many do you have now?
I'm up to 150.
And how many did you order? How many more are coming?
Another 90 gonna come. So
See why I'm saying that, right?
Yeah.
Not only, listen, people always say if you build, they'll come. I don't necessarily agree with that. If you build it and give great people great service and make them feel like kings when they walk in here, they'll come. And I think you really nailed that down. Would you agree with that? You're a humble dude. I know you are. But would you at least give yourself that? You've built something really, really special and worked your ass off, making people, every person that walks through that door feels special when they come in here.
Absolutely. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my all members who supported. As I said, I give them the treatment. I give them the service. Service is a very key part in this establishment. That a lot of lounges I've been to, I don't want to say like all that, but me personally, if I go to a lounge, if I say like, okay, you know what, nobody's saying hi, hello, nobody's getting personal with you.
Yeah.
It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
It's not about just selling cigars or selling drinks. No, it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
I need to get to know you better. You need to get to know me better.
Yeah.
So that's the connection that I want to establish with all my members. And that's what we are right now.
Yeah, and I'd say brand owners and manufacturers, because you and I met, and then how long did it take? And then we kick it around here, a couple more. We got to know each other, and only after did we really get to know each other a little better did it say, okay, now's the time. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Right?
100%.
So, and I felt great about that process because I have nothing to hide. You had nothing to hide, and we were both guys. I just felt great about it. But I will say this: you didn't see it, but when you said, "All right, I'm going to bring in Los Caidos," when I walked outside, nobody was looking. I did a little, jump and kick my heels. I was happy as a pig in shit because this place is phenomenal.
No, and like I said, that's another thing, and the thing what you do, I really appreciate that. I'm always very keen on supporting the causes, the good causes, the local community, and the people who supports us and look after us.
Yep.
I'm 100% in.
Yep.
You call me anytime, any day of the time, any time of the night, I'm there.
Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about one thing. I might get to two, but I know one thing for sure I want to talk about. And it's something we talk about because I'm a sports guy. So, I do my research. So I had to look a lot of shit up about you. And when I came to you and we sat down, I started talking to you about this sport that is relatively unknown by people who have grown up here. But you are a very accomplished cricket player. And you were surprised as hell that I knew the name of the biggest player in India. I know you were impressed.
Yes, I was.
You were impressed.
I was very impressed with that. I was very impressed with that.
I follow all sports. It doesn't matter what it is. But when I threw his name out there, you were like, what? And then we got into a conversation, and I was amazed at the great things you do for this community in the sport of cricket. So I'm going to shut up. I would love for you to tell people about the sport and what you're doing in the community in Middletown, Delaware for the sport of cricket.
So, during from my school days, I was like a professional cricketer. So I played that sports for about 12 years. Then I moved to the States. Once you're a sports person, you're always a sports person. That's never going to get out of yourself. So we always find a place to just hang out with the friends, to play together and see and meet new folks. So one thing leads to another. Then we start involving more people from the state. So we found this spot right at Lumps Pond. So they have wide open spaces in Area 3 and Area 1. So I was like, you know what, this is a very good opportunity to bring the community together. And especially when it comes to the Indian community, like they all are cricket fanatic, as Steve can vouch for that. So because they love cricket, that's their sports. If we are talking about here, it's NFL. For us, it's cricket. So that's how it is.
We got some comments from the audience saying they're playing in his neighborhood now, so that's good.
So from there, 4 years back, we started out a league. It's called Delaware Premier League. We focused on the cricket. So we started off with 12 teams, 14 teams. Now we are up to 24 teams. Every team has a roster of 22 people. So every weekend starts April 2nd to 3rd week. We get together at Lumps Pond. We get to know each other better. We play the sports that we love. And one thing leads to another. So, and sports, as I said, I'm lucky to still play my sports that at this time of my life, I'm turning 43. But cricket will never come out of me.
He's baby, man. That's what I keep saying.
So that's where we are taking it right now. And the next step is that we really want to take cricket to the next level in states. So that's the whole idea behind it.
I absolutely love it. Go ahead.
Are you a fast bowler?
No, I'm not a fast bowler. I'm a batsman and a spin bowler.
There you go. There you go. Love the questions about cricket coming in from the audience. So I know, Pat, you were very upset with me when we met over a cigar and I suggested this. So now I'm going to let you get even more upset with me because I'm suggesting it on air. But I think that we're going to do a Los Caidos event sometime over the next season where I'm trying to have everybody from Cigar Sessions go out and support Pat during one of his games. And you know he's a very humble dude. Right away he's like, no, don't you dare do that. But I think it's only fair that he supports and is so into service that we give that mutual support. We go, well, I'd love to see it personally.
But I tell you what.
And I even offered to buy your jersey. I said I want to buy a jersey.
I already ordered your jersey.
You did?
Let me just tell you
nice,
that.
nice.
Yes, I did. And 10, 12, 15 members of my lounge, they're going to be regular at my games over the weekends.
Yes.
So they already said yes to that.
Yes, we're going to make this happen.
So 12 or 15 members of our lounge, they will be coming to my games over the weekends at the Lumps Pond. Wow, we'll make that happen.
Los Caidos sponsored cricket lessons where you learn how to play and then you get a cigar while you're doing it. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. We're going to work on that program. Well, Pat, thank you so much for the time. Thank you again very much for supporting me. So, because I think if after those conversations you didn't feel good about me, you wouldn't feel good about the brand. So I really want to thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting the brand, Los Caidos. Thank you so much for bringing it in. Thank you for hosting this event tonight. I'm really looking forward to building a great relationship with you. But from the bottom of my heart, very humbly, very genuinely, thank you for this. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I got to say this to you, man. I got to give it to you, Steve. What's the cause behind the whole thing you're doing? That's awesome. Amazing thing that you're doing. And I feel honored to be part of this.
Well, thank you so much.
I feel honored to be part of this. You can count me on anything in future events and anything that you've been planning on doing it. Count me in. Heartbeats.
And folks, those aren't just words. So I was going to do this later tonight. We may do it a little bit later tonight. But I'm going to do a little bit, a sneak peek right now. Behind us, I'm going to go get it because I'm on a wireless mic. But right now, I'm going to announce to the folks who are here at the event so far that Pat very generously donated $500 to the 501c3 I support through Los Caidos Cigars Life of a Ride Time. And that's all because of Cigar Sessions, the event we're doing in the future we're going to have together. So, Pat, thank you so very much for this. I really appreciate it. And this is for family members of fallen police officers and firefighters. Cigar Sessions, Middletown, Delaware. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pat.
You can rate my performance how I did.
When is the schedule coming out for your next cricket season?
It's out. 17th.
It's out?
17th.
April 17th. What's the name of your team?
Super Kings.
Super K's?
Super Kings 11.
So Super Kings 11. Schedule's out. Check for it online. Middletown, Delaware. Supreme League, it's called? What is it called?
Super Kings.
Yeah.
Delaware Premier League.
Delaware Premium League, Super Kings 11, cricket team. Pat runs it. Pat plays in it. We're going to support it. The schedule's out April 17th. Mark your calendars, because I will be down here with the cigar supporting his ass. I was going to do the bowl, but I know it's not that. It's overhead. So I'm going to learn a lot, and I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun. Next up, the guy that you're going to really ream, PCA lobbyist, Josh Shabursky, a.k.a. Wolf of K Street, coming up here. He has a suit on, him and his gosh damn suits, man. I'm ready to cut this tie. Everyone have a pair of scissors? It's Thursday, 75 degrees in Delaware, like it was 19 yesterday morning when I'm walking in Jersey, and he's in a full suit here. It's crazy.
You got to look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. That's what my grandfather always
Look
said.
sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Hold on, Ming, we're good? We got a problem. What? We might have a problem here.
Perfect.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
So, what's going on, man?
Fighting the good fight. Been
Nice.
traveling around different shops, meeting good people.
I saw a great meme recently. Oh, this is really coffee.
This is really
So
coffee.
I don't know if you saw the meme. So my wife posted it. I thought it was funny as hell, and I reshared it. It said, anytime you're on a podcast, blow on whatever's in your mug, because they'll think it's a cup of hot tea.
Yeah.
When in fact it's like whiskey.
Whiskey.
You know? But it made me laugh so hard that when you brought that up, I was like, what is it?
Yeah. No, it's really coffee.
That's funny. That's awesome. So, Josh, you and I have developed a friendship through the PCA. You know, cigar manufacturer. You're the lobbyist down in D.C. I think, and allow me to say this. Maybe you'll think otherwise, but I think we have built a great relationship. One for which I'm very happy to have in my life. Talk to people about. I want to get right into it because you have some other calls. Your parents are here. Are they coming in, by the way?
They are.
What
They
time?
are. They will be here just before I head out to go teach.
Okay. So that's what I want to get into. So again, I try never to take any relationship I have. Yeah, you're laughing because you know I do my research. I have your whole life printed out right on this
my
paper,
resume
right?
over here.
So I've got everything. So you have done so much. I mean, I'm interested in talking to you about, I think you did something with Harley Davidson or some motorcycles.
Yeah.
Right? We're lobbyists with that. I mean, the American Motorcyclist Association, you're in the government, you teach. Talk to everybody about, listen, everyone knows Josh Shabursky, from Premium Cigar Association, Washington, D.C., he's our lobbyist. But you have so many other things going on, some of which I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about, like your interest in foods we eat, per se. You know what I'm saying,
Yep.
but I don't know if other people know that about you. So talk to everybody about the PCA, I know is your main goal. You want to get that focus across this podcast, but you do a lot of other cool stuff. And that's the personal aspect about you that I want other people to know as well. So cover it all. I'm going to shut up, and where I feel like you missed some parts I want to discuss, I'll ask you about them later. But tell everybody what it is you do, PCA, what your goals are, and other stuff you've done in life that's kind of cool, or what you're doing, like teaching.
Absolutely. Well, I certainly am fortunate enough to have my dream job working as the chief lobbyist for the Premium Cigar Association. I get to work with fantastic retailers and manufacturers to fight for cigar rights, get people excited about advocacy to keep the ability to enjoy a cigar. And fight for the different issues. I know that you were talking a little bit about cigar bars and being able to enjoy adult beverage with a cigar. You know, we have 4 bills right now where in different state legislatures where we've introduced them. We're working to get those through. I think North Dakota is the one that is the most likely to pass this session, but getting that ability. So working on some of the, more nuanced issues of cigars is an area where we focus on. And then, of course, fighting it in front of the Food and Drug Administration, in Congress, and even with the White House. So that's the primary focus. Aside from that, teach at George Washington University.
GW. Serious school.
And
Yo, pardon me for 1 second, Josh. Is that Craig? Craig just walk in? That's Craig. Yo, Craig, we see you. Hey, Tom. Yeah, we see you, boy. Thanks for coming in, brother. I'm sorry, Josh. It's a huge supporter of Los Caidos. Great guy. First responder. So I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Absolutely.
I apologize. So you're teaching at GW.
Teaching at GW.
What do you teach?
Teach state politics in the Graduate School of Political Management.
Damn.
So trying to teach the next generation of advocacy professionals, and it's been a blessing all throughout this. I originally wanted to be a political science professor. That was my goal coming into college and grad school, and it shifted. I was wanted to know what I was going to teach in the future. So I got my first job in government affairs as the grassroots coordinator and then manager for the American Motorcyclists Association. So
You know I ride.
which
so
I know,
love it.
yeah,
Love it.
absolutely. So
Thank you for everything you did for me without
yeah,
knowing it.
we protected your rights. This is the second time around. So.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
But yeah, so and then of course I think the funny component about my career and my life is I own two taco and tequila bars in Virginia.
Talk about that because I share an office space with the guys from Jersey Mike's, and we
Yeah.
you and I, when I was down in DC, talked about business.
Yeah.
And it wasn't cigars, it wasn't everything. It was just about the complications of being a founder in a company and everything else. So talk about your experiences tell everybody where it is, where they could go eat it. Like I want
For
you
sure.
to really blow it up, man.
Absolutely. So Taco Rock is in Roslyn and then in the Pinecrest Shopping Center in Alexandria, and we're soon to be signing a third one, which we'll hope to be open, fairly quickly. But it's been an exciting venture in hospitality. I like to think that I'm an entertainer, by and large. That's my day job, and being involved in this hospitality element has been a lot of fun. Learning the business side, and I think I'm able to talk to a lot of retailers and people in the cigar business with a better understanding of what small business owners have to deal with in general. I'm a very small minority owner, but there's been a ton
Small
of
meaning short or small meaning percentage? I'm sorry, I had to. I said we're friends. Come on, man.
Exactly.
You got to bust balls. You bust my balls.
I do. Remember
You bust
the
my
first
balls.
time I'm like, hey, Steve, why don't you come to DC so you can buy me lunch?
Exactly. So I go down there. I got a pocket full of cash. I'm ready to take him to lunch. He's like, I'm just kidding. I own a place. I was like, you jerk off.
So we've had a lot of fun, good fun stories. I remember, when we were in Las Vegas, I tell the story all the time. Steve and I don't necessarily follow the rules
This is
all
one.
the time.
Let me preface. This is one of the stories from Vegas you can tell.
Yes. Barely, though. We weren't following the rules. We were at a conference having a blast, cigar conference, and there was a section where you could smoke cigars and talk and all of that. But Steve and I wandered while smoking a cigar into Jose Andres restaurant. And we didn't put our cigar. We got our photo there, and that's one of my favorite photos that I have posted is of you and I smoking a cigar in a five-star restaurant.
Which is funny because Ming was on earlier and he's talking to me about Kevin Smith, and Kevin's a Jersey guy. I'm just not into movies. My wife kills me all the time because we'll be walking by a famous musician in Asbury Park or Seaside or something like that, and I just don't know who they are. And my wife's like, "You're such an idiot. I just don't pay attention to that type of stuff." So when you're like, Z, do you understand we're in Jose Andres' restaurant smoking a cigar? I don't know if we're allowed to. I said, oh, fuck it, it's a cigar show. Of course you're allowed to smoke a cigar. They're like, I'm not so sure. But I didn't know who Jose Andres was or whatever, right? So we get booted. They kick us out, right? Not after we took the picture.
Yep.
And then only then did I learn who the dude was.
Yeah.
Only then did I learn what a nice place we were in. And then I felt so bad. Like how many times I call and text you like, oh my gosh, Josh, I'm so sorry. I got us kicked out of that place for smoking. I didn't realize it was such a good restaurant. I should have put it out and let you stay and eat there.
Yeah.
And you just had that same smile on your face
Yeah.
that you did then. You're like, I don't really care. Let's go, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I felt horrible.
Those are the stories that you remember, though, and I think that's the best part of the job is meeting different people and having experiences. I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of folks in the manufacturing side as well as the retail side, and these are lifelong relationships. I've worked for PCA now for 2 years. I was a consultant for them for a year before that, but it has been the most incredible part of my life. I'm a consumer first. I love cigars. I want to defend these out of my own personal self-interest. But also I see the fraternity that this brings to people where you can have conversations with folks. No one wants to talk politics. No one wants to talk religion. In a cigar lounge, you can talk about anything.
I put all that shit on the table, man. There ain't nothing.
And it's civil discourse.
I mean, Kev, how many times we talk, it plays about race, black, white,
Yep.
cops, right? How many times we talk about that?
Absolutely.
Like I said, we start with conversation.
Yep.
I've not met too many bad people in a cigar lounge.
Yep. So let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask you to dumb it down for me. I say I have the degrees and everything else, but anybody can get a doctorate degree. You just got to put your time in, do some research, and write a paper. I'm a firm believer in that, so I know a lot. I know the most of anybody in the country about athletic expenditures in New Jersey high schools, like big shit, right? So dumb it down for me. Before you said you're teaching people, graduate students, who really rely on this to maybe get a better job. So like undergrad is okay. You're there with the hope that you're going to get an education, maybe get a job afterwards. Graduate students are like, hey man, I'm entering the next stage of my, this is serious, game on, right?
Yep.
So you're teaching graduate students at GW about, and you said before, I want to use the two words, it was advocacy something or other, professionals.
Yep.
What the hell does that mean, number one? Like, what are you teaching them to do? And then number two, I think a lot of people in the industry, right, and I'm not saying this, they question you in a negative way. I just think they don't know what they don't know, which is cool, right? Until you get educated on it, you don't know.
Yep.
What is it that you do on a regular basis as a lobbyist or the Wolf of K Street? And I didn't know what the hell that meant for the longest time until Aaron Holland said, oh, K Street, that's where all the lobbyists hang out. I was like, that's why he's Wolf of K. So anyway, I didn't know about that. But what is it you do on a regular basis? So answer those two things. Advocacy professionals, what are you teaching them? And what do you do on a regular basis?
So advocacy professionals is a broad term that really encompasses people. You know, some of my students work in Congress. They work for members of Congress. Some people work in the media. Some people work, as lobbyists, as grassroots professionals, as people that are a part of the political process or the communications process. So, it's really rewarding. My students teach me as much as I teach them. And it really keeps you on your feet. They have new trends. I previously taught at West Virginia University in the communications department, and that was a whole other aspect of things. But in government affairs,
You did that from May 2015 to December 2018.
I can't
have it
believe
right here.
I'm going to sign my resume as an autograph for you. Since
I'm going to keep it. But are you impressed? I don't take you for granted.
No,
I do not take you for granted. I brushed up on my shit tonight.
You got a whole stack of papers there. This is like ESPN and CNN all together.
That's right. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up.
No hot mic moments. I can't have any hot mic moments.
So you taught at West Virginia.
Yep.
No. So you were saying advocacy professionals, and you were at West Virginia a little while doing the same thing.
And you learn, like I said, from the students, the people that are up and coming with fresh ideas. Technology in particular, they have a great grasp of what are the new trends and how can we get information in front of people. Part of my job at PCA is communicating what issues are facing people as it relates to their hobby or their business, getting consumers, getting retailers, getting manufacturers excited enough to meet with members of Congress, their state legislature, their local officials to say, hey, we don't want this smoking ban. These taxes don't make sense. Those types of issues are what we're fighting for.
That's awesome. And was that your explanation of what you're doing on a regular, everyday basis? Because I want you to dig a little deeper. So, for instance, I saw you light up, and if Pat wouldn't mind me saying this as well, he was sitting down in a chair, and I said, hey, this is Josh Zaberski. He came up from DC, PCA, to actually be here tonight, talk about this stuff. He got out of his chair. Then when I was talking to Ming, I noticed you guys were having a private conversation, and it lasted a good 30, 35 minutes. The whole time I was talking to Ming and whatnot, and then Pat had to come up, and that's when the conversation was a little interrupted. So without giving us details, because it was a private conversation, what is it you talk about with retailers when you meet with them, or with manufacturers? Like, do you ask them their issues? Like, I don't want to answer for you. So what is it you're really interested in learning from them?
Really, what's keeping you up at night? What are the issues that you're facing on a daily basis? What are the pain points? We want to see the industry continue to grow, thrive, provide jobs for people, provide a safe space for the community to have discussions. And so anything that impairs that, that's what we're going to fight for. That's what we're going to go after. I'll give you an example right now. In Michigan, which we just did an interview with Cigar Aficionado about, they interpreted the mask mandate to prohibit smoking within lounges. So in Michigan right now, you can't smoke anywhere. We worked and we set up a meeting with the Secretary of Health and Human Services and her staff.
For the state of Michigan?
For the state of Michigan.
So high level shit.
High level, and kind of explain,
You can say shit. You want to say shit? You can't say shit. You're a professional son of a bitch.
I'm a professional. But, just explain why that doesn't make sense. provided the data. You know, in a place like this, there's sophisticated and advanced ventilation systems. There's better ventilation here than there are in restaurants and other retail shops, and that's important to know when you're considering the COVID restrictions. It's perfectly within reason to allow the shops to open up. They're following health and sanitation guidelines, all of the other requirements of the state government or the local government, but you can't say to a business owner, you're shut down indefinitely. That is hurting employees, that's hurting businesses, and people in Michigan are going to Indiana, Wisconsin, and neighboring states so that they can enjoy a cigar with friends.
Yeah, so when the state shut them out, they're just going to find another way to do
Yeah.
it. That's David Garofalo leaving Massachusetts to go to New Hampshire.
Yeah,
What a loss for Massachusetts.
It is bad policy, and you know the meeting went really well. It's been receptive. We're sending follow-up information, and we think that we can get somewhere. You know, getting them to reopen.
You know, it's funny you say that because a lot of people think we selfishly want cigar shops to stay open because of the smoking and we want a place to go to smoke. But Pat, I'm going to ask you, I see you still sitting here being attentive to the show. How many employees do you have on for the event tonight? So 6 people right now. We're working the event. Like I said, it's going on from 4 to 11. It's going to be an event. We have other people coming in. We expect the place to fill up. So Pat goes out and hires, you said 6 or 7? Including you or not including you? Not including you, 6? So he's got 6 people on it, or probably, especially during a time like COVID, counting on that paycheck.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to close cigar shops, and there are a lot of cigar shops in America, you're really eliminating a lot of those jobs. So when you guys came out a while ago and said, listen, it's not just about the tobacco, damn it, it's about small job preservation, people were like, oh, that's just a spin. But it's really not a spin.
No, there's 30,000 employees in the retail sector in the United States. There are 3,500 cigar lounges or cigar bars or retail stores, which we represent. And, you know, in addition to that, there's about 120,000 in secondary and tertiary jobs. So farming, packaging, shipping, all that's related to enjoying the product that we're enjoying today.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So from my understanding, if we had to sum it up for people about what you do, you go into cigar retailers, manufacturers, you listen to everybody's concerns, what's keeping you up at night.
Yeah.
Now you take that and bring it to people who are decision makers that have a direct impact on that, like the Secretary of Health for the state of Michigan and others.
Yep, we also monitor it ourselves, so we have sifted through over 1,500 pieces of legislation at the state level already this year. And that's, you know, Ryan Parada over there, who's, you know, works as a consultant with us.
What's up, Ryan? I know Ryan. I got to meet Ryan, but you know what I love most about Ryan? What do I love most about Ryan? Where's he from, baby?
New Jersey.
Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And Dots, if you're listening to this, you know, I'll be seeing you at Lit Cigar Lounge on March 23rd. But
he traveled all the way from Camden to be here because
yeah,
of
baby,
the cause that you represent, and he likes you.
That's right, and we're Jersey guys. Even if he didn't like me, he's got to still support Jersey. So Ryan, thank you for coming from Camden, baby. Give it up for Jersey.
But
thank you, Ryan.
yeah, you know, we're monitoring it on our side. So like if there's something that pops up, we're going to alert the retailers, the manufacturers that, hey, this is something that you have to worry about. And then also educating our community about how to communicate with government. It's more compelling for an elected official to hear from you than it is from me.
I want you to go slow with that, because not a lot of people I think are lazy. They're not going to get off their ass, or they feel like their efforts are going to be in vain. I want you to really slowly state that again and pound that home.
Absolutely.
If somebody's unhappy with the current situation, get off of their ass and contact their people, senators. I don't even know what you call them. So
any elected official.
There you go, elected official. That's what I was looking for.
Where there's an issue, you know, you can come in and provide your personal story. I can get the facts, figures, data, statistics, and we can tee up legislation. We can, you know, alert people of bad legislation. But if we're going to be successful in either defeating something or passing something, it's going to be because of grassroots activists. That's your average consumer, that's your average retailer, employee, manufacturer, and getting out there and telling their personal story of how does this affect them? How will this affect the community?
So I've seen some so I really want that hammered home. Josh right now is looking at me. You may feel like he's speaking to me. But that message is not speaking to me. That message is speaking to every brick and mortar cigar shop retailer out there that's currently pissed off at the situation, wants it to change. If you truly want to change, don't light up and bitch about it with your customers sitting across the chair from you. Write a letter to your elected officials and ask to meet with them, ask for something to be done. And at the very worst, if I'm allowed to say this, if you need further guidance, can't they reach out to the PCA? And what about, let's talk about increasing membership. If you're not a member of the PCA, listen, if you're a small brick and mortar retail cigar shop and you haven't paid your dues, pay your dues and let these guys fight for you. Get involved in local associations. Right in New Jersey, I think Gary Coldesaire.
Yeah, Gary does a great job.
Right, with the Cigar Association. You have guys like Andy Kirstein and David Mallow. They're just breaking their balls for the best interest of everybody in the industry. Now listen, it would be easy with Gary, David, Andy. They're already established. They don't need to do shit. People are going to go into cigars every day, but yet they still make the effort to get a part of the association because they want to fight for everyone. Andy Kirstein is the biggest advocate. Go buy cigars from anybody, because if you buy cigars from anybody in the state, it helps us all. All boats rise in the rising tide, right?
Absolutely. And I want to give Gary a shout out in particular in New Jersey. He's the reason why there was a bill that was defeated that would require any tobacconist to sell nicotine cessation products. So we're talking about Nicorette patches for people to quit smoking cigarettes. It didn't make any sense. And we explained to the sponsor, and Gary did a good job, pounding the point home that this doesn't make any sense. Why are you going to require a small business owner to sell something that doesn't have any effect on their consumer? But, I would say for the listeners out there and folks that are in the audience here, cigaraction.org, that is our, starting point. If you haven't met with an elected official, you haven't signed a petition, written a letter, you can go there. We have a state tab that has 40 active alerts right now. So chances are there's something going on in your state where you can write a letter. It takes 30 seconds. We already, Ryan, Glenn Loop, and I have written those, and you can send it off. And it moves the needle. It has an impact.
And I listen to podcasts a lot, so I'm going to repeat that, because if anyone's listening to podcasts, they might say, oh shit, let me rewind, but it's live, so they can't. Cigaraction.org.
Yes.
I'm going to say it one more time. If you're small, even if you're a big brick and mortar retail shop owner out there, you want to move the needle, you want to be heard, you want to find out what's going on, the first step, coming from our lead lobbyist in the cigar industry, who's up here from DC tonight to talk about this, cigaraction.org. If you're not on that site, if you're not taking action, and for some reason the government shuts you down, you can't say anything, right? Take action. Take action, so at least you're putting up a fight and you can say, hey, I tried. But if you're not going to try, and you're not going to get on cigaraction.org and take any actionable step, it's like a guy that says, I want to go to the NCAA tournament and win a championship, but he's not out there practicing. He's playing games and eating jelly beans. What the hell do you expect, bro? Right? You ain't going to win much doing that. So just get off your ass, cigaraction.org, find out what's going on. Talk to Josh Shabursky, talk to the folks at the PCA in Washington, D.C. What else could we do to encourage people to reach out to you? Cigaraction.org is step one.
Yep.
What's step two?
I think, getting involved at that basic level, and then, if you're in D.C. or you want to meet with an elected official, I'm happy to set up a meeting with your member of Congress, your senator, their staff, state officials. When something comes up, and this is what I tell everybody we do, almost weekly shows on the PCA about advocacy. And I tell folks, if you see something in the newspaper, on CNN, anywhere that you think would harm the cigar industry, let us know. We can't fight for something if we don't know that it's happening. And it's a feedback loop. I want constructive criticism. I want to hear the ways that we can improve as an association and as a government affairs department. But the one thing I would say, and we have a lot of keyboard warriors, don't sit back and post negative comments on social media and just have it go out in the abyss. Call me, and if I'm not doing something, and if we take it the wrong approach, then come and post on social media or do something negatively. But go to us first ask about what we can do to help, and chances are 9 times out of 10 we're going to be able to assist you in your fight.
All right, yeah, that's good advice. I remember having a couple calls when Glenn was over with the CRA, specifically in 2015 after my first cigar shop got wiped out by Sandy. I reopened. I was on all these calls, and it was interesting because everybody was killing the big boys, and I was like, you know what? For a moment, I said we kind of have to appreciate the big boys because they have the big dollars, and the big dollars fight the big fight. So if you had every small brick and mortar retailer having to fund all of the efforts required to fight for us, I don't think there's enough money in that. Yeah. So I said there should be some appreciation for the big boys helping us fund this fight. And they're like, how big is your store? I said 800 square feet. And they're like, you really believe that? They're killing you with the price. They just annihilated. They did not want me part of the association anymore. They were so mad at me just because I said that. And I was like, guys, I'm just trying to be real here. Like, I try to maintain everything with an open mind. I'm not ever trying to be right or wrong, but I think it's important just express your opinion, air it out, to be open to constructive criticism. And where I'm wrong, I'm big enough, I'll admit it. I'm wrong. I could get better in that regard.
Involvement
There's nothing wrong with
is
that.
critical. Involvement is critical, and you know, we're going to win. We're going to win some battles. We're going to lose some battles. You know, that's how it goes. But our track record so far in the past 2 years that I've been involved, I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish, whether it's in the courts, whether it's in Congress, whether it's at the state legislature. You know, we've built a strong team. Our board and Scott Pierce do an incredible job giving us the resources and the leeway to really come up with ideas, improve. We're going to be sending out, and I think this is the first time that I'm saying it publicly, we're going to be sending out...
Are you allowed to? Wait, before you do it, are you allowed to?
I'm allowed, yeah.
Okay.
But we're going to be sending out toolkits to all retailers, all PCA retail members, about how to engage your consumers in the fight. And that's something that's important because the retailer and the staff of the retail establishment, they are an authority in their own community.
Listen, I've often said that, Josh. I'm going to say it right now. With Los Caidos Cigars, right? So I'm the only guy in the company. Jeremy Wolfson and Brett Bowersox are huge helps to me in their respective areas. But outside of that, I'm the only guy in the company. It's hard for me to be everywhere. I'm constantly asking retailers to, hey, if you could be the hero in your town to give the checks back and raise these awarenesses and everything else, like I want to empower you to do that. I'll try to teach you, help you. And teach is not, I don't mean to say that because when you're talking to a person who's your peer of your same age, intellect, and everything else, when you say I can teach you, it can kind of look as condescending or derogatory. I'm never going to try to be that. Yeah. But the retailers have such power in their communities to affect change. And some do and some don't. Yeah. And I wish more did. Right? Like I'm really trying to work closely with the ones who do and the ones who aren't that I really like. I'm trying to encourage them like, dude, you could be the guy in your town, like, or the gal in your town. So how do you feel about that in the advocacy world? Like keep speaking on that a little bit about empowering the local retailer to say you could be this advocate.
Well, and I think it's important what we've been doing recently. You know, Scott and I have been going around the country and talking with retailers about advocacy, consumers. I was in North Carolina with Craig Cass, talked to his entire lounge of people about what are the current issues and current events that are facing the premium cigar industry. I think we need to do more of that. We're trying to communicate digitally. Obviously, with COVID, there were a lot of things to talk about.
But to your point, and in my point, it's hard to, I'm one person, you're one person, and even with your staff, Aaron, Scott, and others, you can't be at every shop. Depending, you said there's 3,500 or whatever, like you can't be at every shop. So this is where the toolkit I feel is so important because you're sending it out and saying, listen, we can't be everywhere, but we still need shit to get done. So please read the kit, act on it, and be the force in your local community.
And state associations are integral components to the success of our overall advocacy. And, you know, involvement, the barriers of entry have never been lower. Because of the technology, you know, sharing an alert that I post on social media about the tax issue in Indiana, for instance, that is a little piece. It takes 10 seconds to do. there are ways to get involved that don't involve a monetary contribution, that don't involve a ton of time. And I think a lot of folks in the industry are opening their eyes to that and getting more involved.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now listen, I am not being rude to you, okay? But I know that you threatened me with a hard stop at 5:30 because you're teaching a class.
Hey, I'm here as long as you need me.
I like, you're the happy dude with the beard and the suit right now. I never want to see you pissed off. So with that, Josh Abersky, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I know you're going to teach and come back later for the festivities.
Absolutely.
Right? But I just want to really, really thank you because I think all of this was a really important message to get across to the people who want to stay in business.
For sure. I do got to say one thing.
Oh, shit.
I got to take the mic over for a second, but I want to thank you for all that you do with the charity work that you support, also with the cigars, fallen firefighters, fallen police officers. My dad was a boy in blue, and I'm proud of all the work that he's done, and it's a good cause. So every time that I buy one of your cigars, it's not just enjoying a cigar for that. It's a cause behind it. And I'm glad to see all the folks here doing the same thing with that. So I'm proud to be a friend of yours. I'm proud of the work that you do. And I hope you continue to do what you're doing. And in any way that we can help and make life easier, we'll do so. I actually even smoked one of your cigars in Nicaragua. So
nice.
that was,
Thank you.
I remember sending you a picture
Thank
there.
you.
So
I really appreciate our friendship. I just want one thing on the record for everybody here listening. You admitted today, just now, 25 seconds ago, of being my friend. When we were getting kicked out of that store in Vegas, though, that restaurant, you weren't my friend. I
didn't know you. Get him out of here. I'm pretty sure.
Sell out, son of a bitch.
I'm pretty sure I stayed, and they tossed you.
You bastard. Listen, I love you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
I look forward to meeting your parents later when you bring them through, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody, Josh Abersky, fighting for your rights to sit here at Cigar Session, smoke a cigar. Thank you. And that really was coffee in his mug. That really was coffee. Well, I'm just going to take about a 2-second break, but we're going to keep it moving because I don't want to lose your attention. So I want to enjoy this to the very last drop. I don't know. I guess I could go up there myself because I'm on wireless. I was going to you're coming up next, right? But I was going to ask for another one of these. Or actually, you know what? No, an IPA beer? Do you mind? Anyone they have? Any IPA? IPA beer, please. Thank you so much, Kev. And then you could just walk it up with you because you're on right now, baby. I'm really excited, everybody. He might be able to hear this, but I'm going to talk quietly. But this guy, man, he's been such a huge supporter, first responder. Met him at another place a few months ago, 5-6 months ago, and he's just been really, really big supporter. He had me on his podcast, and it was really funny because, and we'll tell the story again, so I might bore you, but it's just a really, really funny story. So he's been really close. He was integral in introducing me to Pat and bringing me down here. So I owe a lot to the man that's about to be on the air next. I hope everybody's enjoying the show. We have a couple hours to go. The next couple guests, like I said, Kev's going to be on, and then a couple people might be rolling through, and then at 7 o'clock, we're going to have a really, really special guest, somebody I played high school AAU ball with that was a really instrumental piece in Delaware's basketball history, and he's going to be on here, and I'm really excited for that. And Ryan, what are you going to do after this? Are you leaving out with Josh? You teaching the class? Or you going to chill a little bit? You're hanging out? So one of my friends, a dear friend of mine, Dots Wesley, lives in Camden. So we have an event during the FOP New Jersey convention, March 23rd, 4th, 5th. On March 23rd, I think is a Tuesday night. It's at Lit Cigar Lounge in Swedesboro. But I got all my boys from Camden coming out. So I don't know what you're going to be doing that night, but if you come out to that, I'd love to see you because then you get to meet some of my friends from your area. And it's just, we're really, really tight. So he sent me a beautiful text message today. He's like, yo, bro, weather's almost 70 degrees, thinking about you. I hope everything's, hope you're not walking in your 19-degree weather. I said, bro, I'm down in Richmond, Virginia this morning. It's nice down here, too. I had to go down to Sutliff Tobacco to pick up some product for this event, and it's just great. Sutliff Tobacco has been so important to me, such a big building piece. So I was happy to go see them, and then I went down to Richmond last night, met with them this morning, and then drove up here for the event. So I really thank you for coming in from Jersey, man. I really do.
That's where I met you two, at Lit.
You might have met me at Lit. I don't know if you met him. You might have met me there like last week. I rolled up. Were you sitting in the corner with 3 other dudes?
I was week before last.
A week before last, you were in the corner with 4 dudes.
Loud as hell.
Always loud as hell. And then I had that 5-foot gentleman from Puerto Rico telling me he could post me up and score 40 points on me. And I politely said, okay, okay, you want to feel that? You can feel that.
That's what they're
Okay, so that, but,
I've seen you before too. It just took me in, man.
all right, Kev, come on up, man. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so very, very much. What is your name?
Gabe.
Gabe? Thank you, Gabe, so very much. I really appreciate it. Man, the folks here at Cigar Sessions, you know, Pat said he had 6 people working tonight. It's hard when you're doing this. You can't really get up, move around, and everything else. So it's funny for me to ask somebody, especially Kev, like, hey, Kev, I can't get up right now. I'm kind of live on the show. Like, can you hook me up and help me get a beer? And he did. So what's up, brother?
Okay, just on that note,
Is his mic live? Can you hear him?
breaker 19, can you hear me?
Can you guys hear him?
Stand by.
There
There
you
we go. Okay, now with
Wait,
Steve just
wait. No. 1, 2, 3. Smoke World in the house.
What's up, folks? Another episode of Smoke World from
What's
my brother
up?
Steve here.
Craig.
Craig's birthday. What's up, brother? Happy birthday, Craig in the building.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
He turned 86 today. God bless him. You can see him at the Senior Citizen Home on Broad Street here in Middletown.
Hey, you know what? While we're here, let's just mess with Craig, because you and I got
Absolutely.
some time, brother.
Absolutely.
You and I got some time. Don't, no, you're not going anywhere. I'm getting up.
Whoa, watch your step now.
Yeah,
No
no
insurance.
Watch your step. That. Hey, Craig, come on up, man. Come on up, baby. So, I was talking to Craig. I knew it was his birthday. I was like, yo, man, what kind of desserts do you like? Because I'm a dessert guy, and everyone who knows me knows I love dessert. I will eat dessert 5 times over a regular meal. So they got a joint around the corner called Sweet Melissa. And what did you text me that you liked? Cookies. So, brother, I love you. You know that. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday.
you.
Happy birthday.
That's cookies.
So real quick, if we can, everybody, his name is Craig. Let's get into a little happy birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Craig.
Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
I'm not sure if something else might be going on a little bit later, but there may be a couple things coming your way. This is just the first, but I had to do it with Kevin because Kevin, you know,
Yeah,
you guys,
brother.
I met all of you together through each other.
Yes.
So, and I ain't eating all those, but shit, you better save me 2 of them.
Yeah, save me too.
That's always the thing
Two.
with the gift. Like, you know, like I went to get him that. You know, I got my carrot cake. I got my chocolate. I ate that shit before I walked in.
Exactly. In case somebody's going to ask you for something.
So this is yours. I already had mine. Happy birthday, brother. Hey, Craig. Love you, man. Be good.
Hey, Craig. Save us 4 cookies, man. Yeah, save me some cookies and milk. Cookies
Listen,
and
man,
milk.
you ain't never too old. You ain't never too old for cookies. But he
Cookies.
sent me that text. I was like, yo, bro, what do you like for dessert?
said
And he's
cookies.
like, cookies. I was like, all right, cookies it is.
Cookie.
So, man, I am so happy to have you here. Thank you
thank you,
again
brother,
so
for
much for your
inviting me, brother.
support. So what were you going to say? Now I'm done
Well,
with that.
yeah,
What
I
were
was
you
going to say,
start off with?
because you started with a speech about, you know, you're sitting here, you couldn't get up to go get your drink. You know, folks, that's a bunch of, he can get up. He have commercial breaks here. If we don't have commercial breaks, we're going to start, today we're going to have commercial breaks. So if you got to use the restroom, what are we supposed to do? I can't imagine you sit up here for 6-8 hours. I'm not good like that. You're drinking
wearing
beer.
Depends.
Okay, well,
I just
say
let
no
it
more.
roll right here.
Well, I'm not going to be able to help you with that. Not going to be able to help you with that, brother. But listen, man, I'm proud of you. Congratulations on the Los Caidos cigar. You've been doing some things. Now, you've been interviewing folks. But I got to ask the question because folks don't know your story. So we're going to ask you your story. How did this whole journey begin with you?
And I already answered the one question that I'm not answering again about showering. And I'm not even
Oh,
good.
yeah,
We're
brother.
not even good. I'll let y'all use your imagination on that one, and don't go down the
We
bad
will
road.
touch that a little later.
We'll touch
Absolutely,
that later, maybe.
because that's an interesting story.
No, so I really appreciate that, Kev. I really wanted today to be about you all, not about me. People can Google Los Caidos Cigars, find all about the story. But if you're hearing about Los Caidos, thank you for this. Absolutely not necessary. And folks, this was not planned. He's doing this shit on his own.
Absolutely. Security.
No, but it's I lost my best friend in 9/11. His name was Chris Dinkoff. We went to Villanova together, and his namesake and my son, and we were really, really close. And at 31 years old, the last time I saw him, I was married June 29th, 2001. He's dancing with me, my mother, my grandmother, just everybody. And then he actually he's slept at my sister's house, and he's begging my new wife of that evening for me to stay over. He's like, come on, Lori, just one last party. Come on, before he goes to be with you for the rest of his life. I didn't stay over that night for obvious reasons, but that was the last time I saw him. And then you don't think that at age 31, a plane's going to go through the Twin Towers and kill so many people. So we lost him. And then, that stayed with me for a really long time. It's still with me. I'm just really now coming out of it for the first time in my life. The past 2 times, I took a ride out in Arizona for one of those September 11th. Other than that, I was always in my backyard having a smoke, thinking he's having one with me upstairs. The first time anyone ever got me out was Scottsdale. Harley Davidson folks out there said, hey man, you might need to get out of Dodge for the day and come riding with us. So I did, and it was beautiful. And then the second year, David Garofalo was having a party up in Haverhill, Mass for 2 guys. And I brought a first responder up there, dear friend, Butchie Guzzi. And, Matt Catania, we went up there to get out of Dodge again, and the path continued. In the third year, we just had a great event, September 11th, the Pairing Cigar Bar, and it was the first time I've ever done anything on September 11th for myself, thinking of Chris, for the cause. It was just really, really special. So that is always going to stay with me. How the cigar came about was I had a cigar shop in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, got wiped out by Sandy after 8 months of being in business. I was off for a year, came back, and then we started selling cigars out of the spot, and then I had to make money.
Right.
So I got back to I used my doctorate degree, went back to being a vice principal, and then I could apply for credit cards once I had stated income to build the second shop. So I built the second shop, but I was still a high school vice principal. So one of the guys coming in to manage it was a retired Wall Township police officer, Frank Lancelotti, and he was like, yo, did you know we lost Chris Matlos from Lakewood, Mark Castellano from the State Troopers? These guys are trying to do things to raise money in case it happens again to future family members of fallen first responders. So we became the shop, and I was going out with Beach House Cigars. It was like my own house brand. It wasn't anything to do with Los Caidos. And then once I started getting called in my hometown, then my county, then Ocean and Monmouth County, then the state, then Philly, then Southeast New York, I was like, what do I do? And that's when the guys from Jersey Mike said, man, if you really care about this, you're not going to serve 3 masters well. Shut all this shit down, shut the shop down, stop being a vice principal, go national with the cigar brand, and give back like we do through sub sandwiches. So that's what I did. Wow. So I shut it all down, came out with Los Caidos, only 500 boxes. We sold out very, very quickly, and then I learned about profit margin, right, and business, because I didn't really run a business before. Right. So I learned. That took a year off, came back in 2018, and now, as of today, right now, we're in 157 stores in 29 states.
Congratulations on
So
that, brother.
thank
Great.
you. But it's people like you. You introduced me to Pat.
That's what's all about the network, brother. That's what I love about the Leaf. That, like I said, Josh has spoke about that. Just smoking cigars, the people that you meet become like family. So just the Leaf alone can bring folks together, camaraderie, networking. It's family.
It brought us together.
Absolutely, bro.
So
back to food tonight.
Let's talk about how we met. And I don't know, does anybody have a cutter on?
I do, sir. I do, sir.
You
I'm
do?
prepared.
Don't stop calling me sir. You call me sir one more time, I'm going to hit you.
There you go.
Don't call me sir. Thank you. Oh, this is a nice one.
Very old. I need that back, too.
Oh, this is a nice one.
That's the first move they make. Hey, that's nice. Next thing, your cigar lighter's missing. Cutter's going.
That's true. Let me just get this going.
Absolutely.
So, we first met because you have a great podcast called Smoke World Podcast. And I was invited to be on it. And we did it, and I didn't know how to do it. And I was like, listen, man, I'm in my car. And like, no, it's all good, bro. This is how I do it. We're good. I'm just going to talk to you. You're good. Just keep driving. We're good. We're good. I said, all right, we're good. So it lasted 40, 45 minutes. I'm in my car answering every one of Kev's questions and everything else. And then, all right, cool, thanks. See you, man. All right, cool, hang up. Next day, I get a text. Hey, man, would you ever consider doing that again? You know, the sound quality wasn't as clear, and I'd love to cover it over and go over it again. I said, sure, man, no problem. So I said, send me the link. I'd love to listen to the first one. So he sends me the link, and I go to listen to it. You couldn't listen to anything. It was all almost dead air with me traveling through every dead spot in New Jersey. And I was like, Kevin, that is horrible. You could have killed me for that. Like, but you were so nice about it. Like, bro, I'm so sorry I did that to you. He's like, no, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. He was such a good, genuine, good-hearted person that I was like, man, I want to spend more of my time with people like you. And that's what we did. Absolutely. I'd come down more. We'd go to Spartan. We came here, kicked around over a couple cigars, and we developed a real friendship out of that. And then Craig came along, and you know, I met Craig over at State Line. And I think actually I might have met Craig at State Line, who introduced me to you.
Right, that's correct. That is correct.
Right, so Craig, birthday boy with cookies tonight.
Yeah, cookie
I met him at State Line first. And Craig, by the way, I talked to Jimmy Salmon today. Yeah, I did. So he's doing great. He's doing really, really well. Just rebranded his AU team to instead of Tim Thomas players, he called it Legacy. So he was telling me all about it. He's doing blessed. He's doing great. So he says happy birthday and hello. Yep.
Now you skipped over a few things, and you mentioned that.
So
you skipped over.
Yeah, I skipped over a lot.
Yeah, I know you did.
But that's why that's why you have the podcast studio, and I'm just a host of.
Hey, we're just doing right now. What are we calling this today? What's the name of this? what do we call it?
It's just an event.
Okay, an event.
What did I skip over? But so anyway, Craig introduced us, met you, felt great about you. Then we go to that podcast episode that went horrifically wrong, but you were so kind about it that I said, man, a guy like this, I really want to spend more of my time with in life. And then we ended up getting to spend more time over cigars. That's where my story is brought up to
That's
today.
A beautiful story, brother. Ain't no more to be said after that. That's it. This is what we do.
Well, what do you got? What were you going to say? What did I skip over?
Skip over, I mean, the basketball life, the coaching. You skipped over a lot of stuff, brother. You skipped over, you know what I mean? You did a lot of fast forwarding.
I skipped over a lot of what I've done in the past, but that's me. I want to talk about you tonight. All right, it's us.
Right, this is the whole event. The reason for the event is you and what you're doing. And we appreciate what you're doing. Like I said, we'll echo what Josh was saying about the last call with the cigar. Yep. As far as helping out the fallen families of those police officers and those firefighters.
Yep.
So we just can't skip over that. We can't do that. Otherwise, we would be disingenuous to do that. So we gotta touch base on that.
We covered that. And then what I'd like to do, let's talk more about what you do first. Let's talk about what you do first, right? Okay. For real. And then we'll go back into
revisit.
How about we do this? We'll revisit the things we talked about.
Yes, sir.
I think it would be good to open the audience up to that.
Gotcha.
When we get to that point, right?
All right, no problem, sir.
So tell everybody what it is you do.
Okay, I have a podcast called Smoke World, and the foundation of Smoke World.
Is that Ro?
That's Rosie Rose in the building. Rosie Love is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh, do we got a story to tell about Ro?
Oh, absolutely.
Ro is a beautiful young lady. And she was hanging out at a cigar lounge. We did not know each other, and I didn't give a damn, but I just walked up and I sat in her lap, and she didn't know if she should punch me or hug me. Thank God she hugged me.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh, no. Am I going to get hit again? Ro, how you doing? Thanks for coming. I'm doing blessed, hon. Thank you so much. So good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Rosie Love is in the building. Yes, that's our baby right there. What's up? How you feeling tonight? You good? Absolutely.
So you have Smoke World Podcast.
Smoke World Podcast came to life in the pandemic. Was working as a state constable for the state of Delaware, which is the Justice of the Peace Courts. And obviously we started to work from home.
Explain that to people, because in Jersey it's like state trooper, local police officer.
That's real police.
So explain
we're not
to
real
people
police.
what that is.
So I'm explaining to you what a constable does here in Delaware. A constable here in Delaware works for the Justice of the Peace Courts, and that's the lowest court of the state. So your traffic tickets and things, well, one of your lowest, I mean, when it comes to the legal entity, you got Justice of the Peace, and you go into the Court of Common Pleas, Superior Court, you got Family Court and things like that. So my job would be to deal with some of the landlord and tenant issues. So, for example, you're a landlord and you have a tenant who has not maybe paid, or for whatever reason there's some issues going on, and there's an eviction to take place. My job would be the one to come out there to conduct the eviction. So we did a lot of that. But when the pandemic came, obviously, with the moratorium, things were on hold. So we were working from home a lot. So at that point in time, gave me enough free time to actually start thinking. I was thinking about a podcast some years ago. I used to have a studio in Philly, did music, did production work. So I already had a lot of equipment, microphones and computers and everything. I said, let me put this stuff to use. So thinking about that and thinking about the cigars, the people that I would meet, and I was like, man, I need some great people. And they have some great stories. I would love for them to be able to tell their story. I can't tell their story like they can tell their story. So thus came Smoke World, the podcast where I actually get to meet people like yourself, great individuals who may smoke cigars, or maybe they don't smoke cigars, but it's just a great conversation. So my podcast is, I don't do interviews, we have conversations. So maybe you smoke a cigar, maybe you drink fine spirits, wines, beer, whatever it may be. That's just the foundation of a conversation. And then we go from there.
Yep. And I think that's important because I hope that Josh, Pat, Ming, all the guys tonight and anyone else I've ever had on a podcast, I never looked at it that way, but that's how I think I've always felt subconsciously. I never wanted it to feel like an interview.
Right, no,
you know, where
I
I'm
don't do
reading
that.
questions
No,
and all. Like,
no.
let's just bring the conversation to the people. Like you and I would
Yes.
bust balls and have a conversation in those two chairs smoking cigars. Just do that
Absolutely.
and bring it to the people.
That's it. That's what the podcast is. It's just basically a conversation. And maybe you might be more knowledgeable in certain subjects, and we will get your knowledge. I would call it infotainment. Some things are informative, other things may be entertaining. But at the end of the day, again, it's just a conversation, brother.
Yep.
A conversation.
So on that note, one of the things I think you and I wanted to talk about tonight, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is you know, we had a hard conversation. So I'll talk about this piece of my past, and I'm interested to get your perspective, and then we'll tell everybody about some of the conversations we had, because I think they're important, and it's what I'm looking to do throughout the country. I'm going to have these hard conversations, but to me they're not hard because I've been in it. I have a different perspective not a lot of dudes have.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So I coached basketball at Hampton University from 2007 to around 2011. And what that means is I was one of maybe 7 white people on a 5,000 member black campus. And I was in a sport, men's basketball, right? So I had to look at kids, and you know, my recruiting area was a pretty hotbed for basketball. It was New Jersey, it was Philly, it was New York City. I don't know, I mean, people around the country will fight, but in the 80s, if you said you played ball in Philly, Jersey, or New York, you could ball, right? So, and everybody knew it. Everyone else called you on your shit. If you couldn't bowl in your senior bowl, people knew it. If you were saying, oh, I was up at West 4th, and you were at West 4th, shit, good luck, because they ran that out in 2 seconds flat. They snuffed that out. So I was at Hampton, everyone's like, yo, what's this white dude? But the guy that got the job there was a guy by the name of Kevin Nickelberry. He was an assistant at Monmouth. I was at Point Pleasant Beach, and I had all these, you know, my center was 6'2", my point guard was 6'2", it was Lily White, one of the top, there's 4 or 5 smallest schools in the state of New Jersey, graduated class of 38 kids, and we were playing guys like Bobby Hurley, right? So Bobby Hurley, he calls and says, you know, he went through this guy, I forget, Woolian, I think, and Erin Woolian was a soccer goalie. Her father was a Jersey City detective, knew Bobby Hurley, so the number 2 team in the country at that time, Connecticut, canceled the game. So I had played with Bobby and Danny at 5-star basketball camp, and just from knowing each other in Jersey, Coach Hurley called and said, hey, Steve, you know, the second number 2 team, and they were number 1 undefeated at the time. They had, you know, 7-foot center Josh Moore and everything else. He said, team in Connecticut just canceled. We need a game. I was like, Coach, the team in Connecticut, number 2 in the country, canceled. You want to play us? He's like, listen, I know that you put a good brand of basketball together, this, that, and the other thing. So we were playing teams like that, and this guy, an assistant coach at Monmouth, Kevin Nickelberry, I guess noticed it, started coming to our practices. He's like, man, I just don't understand how you're winning with these guys in this team. I said, dude, I'd go to war with these guys. They're smart, they can think, they can adapt, they can adjust, they're competitive. I love these guys, I just love them. So he's like, and you know a lot of dudes. I said, yeah, I know a lot of dudes, because when you do a craft and you're in it for so long, you get to know relationships. So that summer, I was blessed to be coaching in an NBA-sanctioned summer league, and Jason Thompson, I want to say 12th overall pick in the 2008 draft, went to Sacramento at a Rider. He was on my summer league team, and I was coaching him, and I guess Kevin had noticed that, and then he got the job at Hampton, waited till the last day, or last summer league game, lost in the championship game. I got a call that night saying, hey, one of my assistants left. I need somebody down here. Can you get here? I said, sure. When do you need me? He said, tomorrow night. I said, shit. So I went home.
Exactly.
I went home. I said, hey, honey, this opportunity came up. She goes, go for it. Every time March Madness rolls around, it's your dream. We'll move down when, give us a couple months. We'll move down, but go. So with the support and love of my wife, and my kids were babies, so they really had no say, I jumped at the opportunity, started working at Hampton, and when on the way down, like on the call, Kev said, by the way, Z, you gotta know this. I said, what's that? He goes, Hampton's all black. I said, so what's your point?
Right.
Like what? It didn't even faze me.
Right.
Didn't even faze me. I said, we're talking basketball, right?
Right.
He said, yeah. I said, I'll see you tomorrow night. Like it was a non-issue. So then I get to campus, and I was just with Keith Cottrell. He's coaching there now. I was with him a couple months ago. Every time I go to see Scott Regina down at Emerson's, I stop by and see the guys from Hampton or try to get together. We always just really, it was fun because, I'd be sitting there, and I remember very, very vividly on a recruiting trip to Trenton, New Jersey. Robbie Kennedy with the Hoop Group ran the thing out of Trenton State College.
Okay.
And we get out of breakfast, and I get up, and they go, where are you going? I said, I got to be at Court 9 at 11 o'clock, whatever it was. I said, I'm looking at these two kids. And they go, you ain't going dressed like that. I said, what you talking about? And they're like, dude, your shorts. They're like way above the knee. They got to come down a little bit. Maybe you should tell your socks to tell your shorts are having a party. They come on down.
Yeah, Daisy Dukes.
They made me.
Yeah, your Daisy Dukes.
I'm not listening. I'm not.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So what happened
It's
is,
your Daisy Dukes.
I had my Daisy Dukes. They were about they almost looked like cut denim. So I had my Daisy Dukes on. I was typical white boy with Daisy Dukes. Yes, I was. So we're sitting there, and so they asked me to go back to the hotel room to change, sent an assistant up to give me a pair of shorts with it going down my knee, and they said, now you could go to Court 9 or whatever.
I got to stop you right there. Where did these shorts come from? Because it's not like your normal size. So they just happen to have some shorts laying around? There's a story behind that too?
There was another guy on staff that was kind of tall,
okay.
so he had to sacrifice a pair of.
Right.
He said,
sorry.
and he said,
Proceed.
I ain't never wear. He said, if I give you these, I ain't never wear any shits again.
Could you blame him? Can't blame him.
No, you can't blame him. I get it. So it was just that fun, and I never was allowed to order my own gear after that. It was just that fun ball busting. And we always said, one of the funniest stories, it was Adrian Walters, I think, is the associate head coach of the women's team in North Carolina now. He was on our staff. Buck Joyner was an assistant at that time. He's now the head coach. It was me, Keith Cottrell, Nick was the head coach, Kevin Nickelberry, we call him Nick. So we're all sitting there, right? And one of the funnest stories I had is when I get down there, they're like, oh man, they were talking about one of the guys was single or something like that. A player came in and left. They're like, man, would you ever date that girl? And somebody said, oh no, hell no, she's too bougie for me. Mm-hmm. So I go, bougie, what's that? And Buck goes, God damn, Nick, you're bringing a white boy again. Now we got to teach him everything about our culture. Like, what the hell are you doing, right? So everyone started laughing. And then Adrian goes, I got this. He goes, I got this. I worked in corporate America for a while, Bank of America. I'll be the bridge between the two cultures and the two races. So he goes, Steve, he goes, do you know, a daddy's girl, princess, makes a lot of money, drives a Mercedes, can't touch her? I said, yeah, a Jap. And he goes, exactly. And Buck goes, exactly. So Buck goes, hold on a second. What is bougie?
I'm sorry, sir. You got to repeat. What word did you use?
Jap.
A Jap. Oh, okay.
Jap. Jap. So what
I'm not
happened?
familiar.
Now, are you not familiar with this? So you're not even.
Yeah,
So now you're gonna be in that conversation tonight, right? So we're sitting there. So I said, I said exactly. And Buck goes, what the hell does being bougie have anything to do with being Chinese? So then we all started falling out. We're like, first of all, Japs or Japanese people are not Chinese. They're two different nations, number one. Number two, Jap stands for Jewish American Princess. It's shortened term for someone wealthy, can't touch her and everything else. It's just like being bougie. And we just fell out laughing for 10 minutes. And it was that way every day. When Obama came on campus, right, I go into my office. Now, Doc Harvey's the president of the university, right? And he's a great man, very well-respected businessman. But I felt something was being put on because he was never down at Convocation Center, in our offices for really anything. So all of a sudden, Obama's coming to campaign, and I had my whole office. I had my own office. It's balloons, and a T-shirt hanging over the chair. So I'm sitting there, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on, Keith?" And Keith Contreras, my guy, like he's the one I met for dinner 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I just love him. So Keith was sitting there, and I said, "What's up, Keith?" He goes, "What's up, man?" I said, "What is all this?" He goes, "Obama's in town. He's campaigning on campus." I said, "Yeah, I know that, but what's this in my office?" And he goes, "It's a T-shirt, man." I said, "Okay, cool." He goes, "You got to put it on." I said, "I got to put it on?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "For what?" And he goes, "Reparations, motherfucker." So I'm sitting there saying, "Damn, okay." So it was, see what I'm saying, how it brought up a laugh? Right. It made you laugh your ass off. Now, the whole women's staff was over there at the time. Doc Harvey's there. They're laughing, they're high-fiving. I walk out my office with the O shirt on. They got the band in the little driveway leading up to the convo, and Obama was coming in, so they were all getting ready for that. But I'm doing high fives all across campus. Right. Everyone's laughing, like I'm in the spirit of things, like nothing was too big, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the experience I bring to cigar lounges when I'm having a conversation, like the one we had up at the other place.
Yes, sir.
When I'm saying, "Listen, man, you're black, you're a police officer. How do you feel about the shit that went down?" Right? And we started having those conversations, and you could see on the periphery, everyone's like, "Oh shit, oh shit." They started running for cover.
Security.
Right. They started, like, they didn't know how that shit was going to go down. And all of a sudden, they saw 4 or 5 other people saying, "Shit, I'm going to pull up a chair. I'm going to listen in on this."
It's a good
right?
conversation.
So then we had a real conversation about the shit going on in America.
Yes, we did.
And it was viewpoints from everywhere, right? Like,
Yes.
hey, when a police officer says freeze, it means freeze. Hey, but you can't kneel on somebody's neck till they're dead.
Right.
Like, it was real talk. Now, if I challenge anybody, if you bought that shit to a bar where alcohol's involved, it's a fist fight, guns are drawn. But when you do it in a cigar shop, we busted each other's balls on all of our different viewpoints. And how did we end it? Love you, man. See you tomorrow.
Sir.
Let's do this again next week.
Yes,
and
sir.
we gave it a hug.
Yes,
now,
sir.
you and I could have been total, and on some issues we were, total polar opposites. Doesn't mean we can't be friends.
Absolutely.
Can't mean we can't hug it up. See you next week. Let's do
Right.
it again. And that's what I think is missing. Like, we all talk about, oh, cigars have the power to bring everybody together. Gay, straight, black, white, rich, poor, blah, 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 blah. But nobody's doing it. They're just talking about it because they're afraid of it. So where I think my Hampton experience really comes into play is I've been there, I've done it, I've seen how you could, and I gave a TEDx talk on it, I've seen how it doesn't have to be full of venom and hatred.
Not at all.
You can have a serious conversation about really tough differences and still be friends.
Of course, that's what it's all about.
Have that closer.
No, I'm saying that's what it's all about
Yeah.
at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You may have a different perspective. A lot of times you have conversation, and whether we agree or disagree, but maybe you might see something that you didn't think about or wasn't familiar with that the other person may tell you. So, again, that's why I love the cigar. Okay, I'm going to go back to the root of the cigar, about having conversations. It's important, regardless of what kind of conversation it may be. You want to call it a tense conversation. I don't really use that word tense when it comes to that. You still have a different perspective. Maybe you grew up a different way. You grew up in a different neighborhoods. Again, different words. We use different languages. You know, we make swag. We make a lot of noise, and hey, they're gonna start a fight. No, that's just the way we do things.
Yep.
So again, it's all about a conversation, getting to understand that person or that culture.
Yep.
So that's important that we sit down and have this conversation.
Yep.
And I don't know why people are afraid of it, because again, it's nothing but a conversation.
I think the biggest fear, I think people are afraid, I think today's society, they're so afraid of having real conversations. Like, if I'm coming at you, right, and I'm saying stuff, like everything I've ever talked to you about,
Right.
you knew I wasn't coming at you hard.
No, you weren't coming to hate.
I wasn't coming with hate.
No.
I was just coming with like, hey man, let's just talk.
Right.
And what I don't
Some
know.
things you didn't know, again, hey, I don't really know.
Correct. What I don't know, but this is the shit I got to ask you. I got to talk about that. And you were like, all right, bro,
Absolutely.
let me set you straight. This is how I feel about it. And it was cool. So many people are afraid, I go back to, I have some thoughts on this, and they're deeper thoughts, and you could call me nerdy, geeky, whatever you want to about it, but when a lot of people came through school, when I was going through school, parents always wanted better for their children.
Yes.
Right? So a lot of parents were pushing kids at the time I was going through college to be one of two professions, right?
Right.
They said, go make a lot of money and become a doctor or become a lawyer.
Yes, sir.
So is it really any surprise that our healthcare system's fucked up and we live in such a litigious society?
Well,
Because we have all these people who are doctors that want to get paid because they spent so much money on their education, they need a return on that investment.
Yes.
Same with being a lawyer. So now we sue everybody because we've got so many lawyers who want to make a lot of money. Of
course.
And that's why I think the conversations aren't had. Because if you allowed a person at a major company, let's pick an accounting firm, Ernst & Young, right? Very, very known to be a conservative firm. we're at the water cooler. We don't want to talk about issues of black and white because somebody might get sued, and Ernst & Young might get sued. So what do? They suppress it, and all of a sudden what happens? It fucking blows up. It pops.
Yes.
And look at what the shit we're going through now.
Hello.
Whereas if you just let fucking people have the conversation, you wouldn't have had a bubble burst, I think.
Oh, I agree with you. Like I said, you mean it's
That's
like a
just
pressure-
my opinion.
No, it's like a pressure cooker at the end of the day.
It was a big fucking pressure
Yes.
cooker that exploded.
Yes, because again, things are being suppressed. That conversation is not being had.
Yep.
So again, you had mentioned, I know in the past, in reference to the cigar, that you was going to try to create something to bring the folks together.
Yes.
Are you still?
Yeah, we're going down that path, and let me tell you why that is, and that's a good note. So we had, at first, I only did the police cigar. I only did the blue line because Frank Lancelotti in my shop was a retired PD, and the two guys that were killed that brought to my attention, Mark Castellano and Chris Matlos, were both officers. So I only did the blue. It wasn't until Butch Guzzi, Ryan D'Elia from Annisquam, and a couple other guys said, hey bro, we're first responders, we got guys dying in line of duty over here too.
Yes.
Then I take a ride out in California. I want to say it was December 22nd, 23rd, 2018, where I met a lot of the Green Knights came out to support my event in San Diego. We were riding out of San Diego, Harley with New York, Mike and those guys, and Mike Brown came up to me, Green Knight, veteran, said, hey, you doing anything for the veterans? And I said, you know what? I said, a lot of cigar companies are doing things for veterans, Cigars for Warriors, etc. So many companies are doing things for veterans that I felt the police and fire were underserved, so I just want to focus on that. And he said, so are you saying to me that too much is being done for the veterans who served this country and fought for your protection to smoke a cigar? And I had no answer. So we took the ride, and after the ride, we're having a beer. I said, I thought about what you said the whole ride. And I said, subconsciously, I think I might have been thinking it, and I apologize. We can never do enough. So I will be coming out with the Green Line one day, right? So as the plans for the Green Line were coming out, the pandemic hit, right? So now I didn't know what to do, and plus there was no way I was going to do the Green Line with the FDA, August 8, 2016, predicate date and everything else. I didn't know what to do. So much has gone on over the years to cause a delay in decision making. I probably should have just had the balls to do it, but I was getting advice from everybody else saying, slow down, don't do that yet, don't do that yet, don't do that yet. So then finally when I come out to do it, pandemic hits, and then George Floyd is murdered, right? So we had this logo since 2018. And if you know anything about the Los Caidos logo, it's two hands come together, one is black, one is white. Well, when Timmy Host, the designer, one of my former students and co-founder of the company, we put two white hands together, and when you're looking at a big screen TV in a focus group room, you know, we had about 8 to 10 people there, you know, it looks great. But then when he said, okay, everybody, now I'm going to show what it looks like on a cigar box and a cigar band, we're all like, what the fuck is that? It looks like a pregnant dove. So all of a sudden he goes, well, let me swap one out with black, because the easiest contrast to white is black.
Yes, sir.
So he made one of the hands black, one was white, and we saw it as a common bond between a fraternal shared between first responders, military. It was just perfect. People coming together, right? Not necessarily for color or race, just people coming together in the service of community, fraternity, police, fire. That was the logo. And just as people, firefighters said, hey, what about us? The veterans said, hey, what about us? Now I had a lot of members of the black community saying, hey bro, you were at Hampton, you know, what about us?
Right.
And they were saying, does this logo have anything to do with that? And I said, no, it doesn't. But because so many of you were asking, maybe it should. So we are exploring a fourth line, as I told you. I'm not going to talk too much about it, where we do support a cause for that.
Yes, sir.
And then we start having real tough conversations where I'm bringing leaders of every community in to a cigar shop and saying,
Let's have a conversation.
let's have the conversation.
That's
100%.
beautiful, brother. That's beautiful.
So that's our plan.
Oh, that's absolutely
When I say
beautiful.
our plan, my plan, because I'm the only guy in the company. That's my plan.
You're growing, brother. You're growing.
That's right. That's
You're
my
growing.
plan.
So speaking of the company and your growing stages, what do you think some of the challenges have been running a cigar business?
So much. There have been so many challenges. One of the first challenges is when I brought somebody on staff, they had been at a place where they felt like they were micromanaged, person looking over the shoulder the whole time. So I promised I'd back off a little bit and say, okay, I won't do that. And in the product, we had the 11 count boxes, and I really wanted a Bova to pack in each box. And to my discredit, right? I should have been doing more, looking over it. Like, it's one of those trust but verify things. I'm not going to look over your shoulder during the process. I should have looked over it after to make sure.
Correct.
I didn't. I trusted, and there was no Bova to pack in the system. So that really, really bugged me. You know, the original band in the 11 count boxes, it was supposed to have dual black lines like it did in the 49 count box. That was an oversight. It only had the black lines in the top band. So that was something that bothered me. And then in the 49 count box that we developed, we shrink wrapped it too early. So there's a lot of dye involved in our 49 count wooden boxes.
Okay.
And that dye is really, really strong coming off the press.
Okay.
And it just, when we shrink wrapped it,
Right.
Infuse
that dye?
Oh, so we had to just eliminate all that. So there have been a lot of challenges. I wasn't in Nicaragua nearly as enough as I should have been for quality control because I was taking 19 motorcycle rides throughout the country. Like, it was just, I was the only guy.
Right.
So I was in San Antonio, Club Humidor, did a great event with Keith Rumbo and all the people out there, give money to Greg Garza. You know, he lost his life in line of duty for the firefighters, worked at a fire station 1 in San Antonio. So I'm taking that ride. We have a great event, give money out, and then all of a sudden I get a ton of orders. Now I was supposed to be in San Diego on a motorcycle. And I was like, shit, I'm the only guy. I got to go back to Bensalem, Pennsylvania, to the warehouse, pack all the orders, cardboard boxes, peanuts, and everything else, get them out, get back on a fucking plane, go back to San Antonio, get on a bike, go to San Diego, right?
Yeah,
and then
sounds fun.
sometimes I was just like, you know what? Leave the bike in San Antonio, just go to San Diego and rent.
Right.
So it was that. So I've learned a ton, but when you're building a company by yourself, and I don't have unlimited funds, I can't hire 6
understand.
internal sales reps. I
Right.
don't have the travel budget. I'm trying to do this on a low cost. I think what's driving, so I made a ton of mistakes, and I learned a ton. I was really, one of the things that caused is I went into a retailer, got the order, and then they didn't see me for a year because I had no internal sales reps. I had no brokers helping me. I was still taking a ride. So all of a sudden it's like, hey, Steve sounded great. He sold me these cigars a year ago. Where the fuck's he been? So I understand a lot of the criticisms that might have been made about me. I know them all. No one needs to say anything. I don't need to read anything.
Right.
Because I don't know if that's what they're saying. I'm assuming it is because that's what I'm feeling. Because
Right, I got you.
I was a retailer. I
you know
was
the-
a
right.
retailer.
So you've
I
been
know
on both
what
sides of
so
that.
this is a lot of projecting. I know exactly what I would feel if the same thing were done to me. And so most of this is projection. Nothing has ever been said to me. No one's ever called like, where the fuck you been? Like, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But I imagine they could be saying it. So those were some of the mistakes, setbacks, learning experiences. But what I feel great about is now that I've gotten through it and have still grown a company, one of the biggest blessings in my life was Sutliff Tobacco out of Richmond, Virginia. Big distributor met me at the TPE last year and said, listen, man, do you need any help with distribution? I said, shit, do I need help? Where do I sign up? So they started distributing our products, so now I don't have to go to the warehouse anymore.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So I was all set. We were coming out with the new lines. I was going to go travel the country and spend all the time with retailers. And then all of a sudden the pandemic. And then George Floyd's murdered. And it was just, I went down to, I gotta figure this out. I need me time. I really need time to see where the best direction for this company is. Because I don't want to be the dude to say it and not do it.
Gotcha.
So before I go out there and say shit again, I got to make sure I can do it. How best can I do it? Because I can't open 400 stores. I'll never be able to visit 400.
That's correct.
So I'm going to the 150 that I want to be with, that exhibited great, that keep a great shop and great people, great hearts, great souls. I want to work with them and build it from there. And that's what that's so now that we're starting to lighten up and do events like this, you're going to see a lot more of me doing that.
Okay. Now, do you think you will be getting some reps? I know you said your budget may not call for that at the moment.
Yeah.
But in the future, with things growing.
Yeah, so we have there's two, I say we, I always say we because it's that coach, right, mentality,
sir.
but it really still me in the company. I told you to stop saying sir.
I'm sorry, sir.
So Brett Bowersox in New England is a stud. He really is so kind. He took me on, and understand, I am one box of 20 cigars and some 11 count boxes, right, for
Okay.
gift items. For them to sell me to a couple stores doesn't even pay for the gas money. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Gotcha.
really hard. I'm like an add-on for them.
Okay.
But they've still exposed me to so many stores that I wouldn't have normally been in without their help. And Jeremy Wilson is doing the same thing in California and the
Okay.
West Coast, Arizona, Idaho, Washington. So I will be forever eternally grateful for them. They're still with me.
Okay.
But you know this, right? We know
Yes.
this. We talked a little bit about it before. You remember the people who were with you in the early stages
sir.
of your infancy and have ridden those bumps with you, because when the time is when
get
it's
to that next
glory
level.
time, when it's glory time, who's getting rewarded first?
Say no more.
The dudes that were in the car riding with
Called
you
ride or
early.
die, folks. Those are
You
people
know,
that rode and
ride or die.
That's it, ride or die.
And that's and some retailers get it, some retailers don't. For the ones who do, and say, listen, man, we know you're growing a company. We know you had some shit. We know you're learning. We know we have faith and believe in you that you're going to get better. And when you get better that one day, we're here. I will always remember that. And people should know, as a Jersey guy, very, very deeply into sports, it's like that first team you coach.
Yeah, that's
It ain't
true.
it ain't the greatest
No, it's
team.
not. It's kind of ugly.
And I might have been the biggest asshole as a coach, but they endured it so that I can build a program for the long run.
Yes.
You don't think if any one of those first players ever called me and said, Coach, I need something, I wouldn't give it to them?
Oh, not without a doubt.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt.
So that's the type of relationship I hold dear to my heart with these first retailers that supported the brand. 100%.
At this point, your cigars are basically throughout the U.S. because you're on the West Coast.
Yeah, we're all over. So right now, 29 states.
Okay, great stuff. Great stuff. So what would you have to do to actually make that grow? Because again, you're a solo mission, you're a solo guy.
Yep.
What's the next step to say, okay, I need to get another 29 stores?
Three, we're going to come out with more sizes. We're going to come out with more blends to make it worthwhile to any independent broker out there wanting to help us grow.
Okay.
Number one. Number two is I am getting a new vehicle, and now that Sutton's distributing the product, and I am making a promise to 150 retailers that I will see them twice a year.
Okay.
And I will expect them to hold it. Now, if I don't carry through on a promise and they say, fuck you, we're not carrying a cigar anymore, that's cool. That's on me.
Absolutely.
Right? But other than that, right now, I'm just, if they've been patient with me this long, I would feel horrible if the relationship ended now, because I feel like we didn't do the full dance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We
Stepped on
didn't
toes, but you didn't let me do my dance.
Yeah,
I got
you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So that's what I feel like where I'm at now.
Okay, well, you're rolling then,
But
brother.
thank you
well,
for asking.
congratulations on that.
Thank
know
you.
what I mean?
Where are you at Smoke World?
Smoke World, like I said, we started, well, like I say, we. There's a we, because again, it's the guests who come on, the folks that's in this lounge have been my guests. They have been supporting me on Smoke World. And that's the great thing about being able to start your podcast, what Ming was talking about earlier, that you meet great people and people with different experiences and different knowledge. So it's a great opportunity to be able to talk to those individuals, because what I learned about cigars is that I know nothing about them. I know I like to smoke them, because when I meet people who really know about cigars, I stay in my lane. So it's one of those kind of things I think most cigar smokers would have to say, is a cigar that you like or don't you? You don't like it. It's the bottom line. Now, when you have the people like yourself who make those cigars, they can give you the blends, the fillers, and all that technical aspect. But when it comes down to the average cigar smoker, it's one of those kind of things. Did you like the cigar?
Yeah.
Or you didn't?
Yeah,
That's
to
it.
smoke it again. Yeah,
Right.
like
That's
all
about
the people
line.
like, oh, it tastes like fruits and nuts and cranberries
Yeah,
and
yeah,
dried ginger
yeah.
ale. It's like
Peanuts, jelly,
he's
apple
saying
butter.
that's me.
apple butter, and, you know, all those different
Yeah,
nuances.
Craig's gonna take a bite of that chocolate chip cookie and says, "Oh, this reminds me of so and so." Like, come on, man, come on.
Come on. Come on, Craig.
So what's next level for you with Smoke World? You've asked me and put me on the spot with
Absolutely.
my cigar company. So what's next for Smoke World? How are
Well,
you
what's
gonna grow
next?
it?
That's a good question. I'm going to hook up with Maine
Okay.
and get some points, some tips. But I want to see it grow. Again, this is a new year, so I want to say I started my first episode April, May.
How long has it been?
Not
been
even a
doing
year
it?
yet.
Almost though. A couple months will be your anniversary.
Yeah, a couple months will be a year. And kind of happy with, like I said, the guests, the format. I'm learning a lot, talking to some different people. So where do I want it to, that's a good question. Where do I want Smoke World to go? To the Smoke World, brother. Just, again, meeting great people and having that conversation. And like I said, just again, once I hook up with Ming, he's going to give me those secrets on how to build the audience, some of the promotions, how to do certain things. Again, this is a freestyle thing for me. I come from the music background. I did production work for years in the music world.
Talk about that. Where, with whom?
That's a whole nother story, but we'll get into that real quick. So, my mother was a piano
This is
player.
a little bullshit, right? Like, not. I know you're talking about your mother, and I want you to continue. That's bullshit. Like, I'm a cigar manufacturer talking about my brand to the whole world right now. Anybody interested in listening? I'm putting all my shit out there. He's asking what mistakes, what learning. I'm putting all my shit out there. I'm like, oh, so what are you going to do? Well, that's a long story. I don't know. That's a cop-out, man. Call him on that. Call him on that. Oh, who said security?
I deferred that to my attorney, Mr. Manuel. He will speak for me on that end.
You're about to open up. So it started with
Okay,
Mom.
interestingly enough, my mother was a piano player. She played in the church, and she was the choir director for one of the churches in Philly. I'm from Philly, and so we grew up in a musical household. A lot of things, we had to go to church on those Bible study nights, Wednesdays. When I wanted to go outside and play, you couldn't do that. Now you're going to church. Really, Mom? Come on, I'm outside summertime. I mean, you're outside playing. Now you're going to church. So we had to get in the car, dressed stinky, dirty, don't matter. You get in the car, Mom takes you to church. So you're sitting there for 2 hours, bored, out your mind, like, okay. When I get older.
Whoa, 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. That's it, brother. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Y'all don't.
In and out 45 at least.
And this is not even on a Sunday. This is during the week. Okay, I got school the next day. Okay, Mom, that's what I used to use. Mom, I'm getting sleepy. I got school. Yeah, whatever. That didn't work. So, with all that taking place, you're sitting there, you're thinking, man, wait till I get older. I ain't gonna be going to church. I ain't doing this no more. It sounds good. As you got older, I always was into the music thing. I took up trumpet. So I played trumpet in school. I was a trumpet guy. And then from there, I kind of fell in love with the drums. And one day, my grandfather had gave me a little radio. It was back in the days, little transistor radios. He had a cassette on his because he was taking up guitar lessons. And I was like, hey, I call him Papa. Papa, you mean that get one of those radios? He was like, yeah, I put another one. You can have my old radio. So I'm sitting home one night in the bed. Again, I'm loving drums. Didn't have a drum set, but for whatever reason, I had to call into the drums. So I'm sitting there one night, and I'm just what I call scanning the band, looking for stations. As I go to sleep, I ran across this station. It was a drum solo. I'm like, man, drums playing by themselves. What kind of music is this? So I'm listening to this radio station. Turned out to be WRTI 90.1, which is a Temple University station that was in Philly. Still goes on now, but they mostly play classical music. They do jazz, I think, now in the evening, starting at 6 o'clock. But at that time, there was 24-hour jazz station. Real jazz, not smooth jazz, but real jazz. Straight ahead jazz, the Miles Davis, the Coltrane, Art Farmer, McCoy Tyner, those type of individuals. So from there, I locked into that station. And at that point, I told my mother, Mom, I want some drums. She said, well, if you come up with half the money, I'll come up with the other half, and we can get some drums. So, back in my day, we used to clean the neighborhood. We used to get up on Saturday mornings, a group of guys, group of kids, maybe about 5 or 6 of us. Saturday morning, we get up 8 o'clock, knock on the doors, and ask for donations. We would clean the whole block. We would sweep up the whole block, cut the hedges and all that good stuff, and then knock and say, hey, we had a little saying that we would knock on the door. Hey, Mr. Steve, how you doing? Would you like to help donate to the kids who help clean up the block? And at first, it was like, what? You didn't clean nothing up. I said, we did. You could come out and look. They'll come out and look at their property. Oh, you guys did do that. So they give us $1 here, $1 there. So I was able to get my money up to get some drums. So I get my first drum set. And of course, my mom probably regretted that. As you can imagine, any kid with drums, it's like, okay, this was a bad idea. And I'm about maybe 13 at that point, 13, 14. Get my drums, and she plays piano. But she played gospel music. So I was like, Mom, you got to learn how to play jazz. She was like, well, yeah, that ain't my thing. Mom, man, you're a musician. You got to learn how to play jazz. So she tried a little bit, but just wasn't the same. So obviously, once I got into high school, stayed with the drums at that point, did the All-City Jazz Band, the jazz, I just fell in love with the jazz. From that point on, I really got into music, started doing production work, pre-production work, got to work with some of the artists, some big name folks. I had a studio in Philly for about maybe 7, 8 years on Delaware Avenue. There's a casino across the street now called the Sugar House. Before the Sugar House was there, I had a studio called 1020, which was a 4th floor, maybe about the size of this location here was a studio. So we had, nice little layout. And I did that for years, and then I ended up moving in Delaware. Whap, 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 whap. Good old Delaware. At that point, the drive back to Philly was getting old. I said, I can't taking this ride from Delaware to, back to Philly. So I ended up closing the studio down, had all my equipment. The wife hates me to this day. All that stuff, a lot of it's still sitting in the garage. She's like, what are you going to do with this stuff? I'm throwing it away. Whoa, no, you're not. Whoa, that's a fight. Yeah, calm yourself down now. You're not throwing nothing away. So I said, you know what? I put my keyboards in. I always had that kind of stuff. That's my therapy. Music is my therapy. So I had my keyboard set up and my, sequencers and all that kind of stuff, my mixers. So for me to start the podcast, as far as equipment purposes, I didn't need any equipment. I had everything I needed. So the pandemic came upon us. I said, you know what? This is the perfect time to kind of start this podcast. Awesome. So therefore, Smoke World has come to fruition. Smoke World, brother. Smoke World.
So you have Smoke World now, and you're doing great. You're interviewing some awesome people. Oh, is this battery dead?
Yep, I'm going to charge it though.
You killed the battery, Steve. You killed
Grab
it.
that from you.
How long was I out?
About 2 hours. About 2 hours.
Last
2 hours,
That was
brother.
probably Kev's happiest moment. He's like,
2
God damn,
hours.
he's mad at you, Ming. He's like, why did you even announce that his battery was dead? I was enjoying his quiet. So you have Smoke World, and you just explained the history and how it came about. How have you been enjoying it? And again, I'm holding you to the fire on this. I want an answer. Where are you bringing it?
That's a good question, Steve. That's a real good question.
Answer the first one. How have you been enjoying it?
I love it. I love it. It's not too much work for me. For some folks who are not familiar with the music, the software, but like I said, they can take Ming's class, they can join Ming. But for me, going with different types of software from the music industry wasn't an issue for me. I think some folks may be intimidated by the fact that, okay, most of us know how to work a computer or a laptop. But when it comes to different software, recording, how do I do that? How do I edit? How do I bring music into my podcast? Some of those things are challenges for some people. And some people, right. So
They're challenging for me. That's why I have Ming.
Well, that's
for
true.
real.
That's true. I'm saying that's real true. But for me, that wasn't an issue. So, again, the great part about this is the fact that I'm able to inspire some folks who were thinking about maybe starting podcasts. Again, having that fear, They said, you know what? I don't think I could do it. So I would sit down with them. I said, look, if you want to do it, I would teach you everything I know about it and bring it to life.
What's your greatest joy? So what's the better joy? Is the better joy being able to teach others how to podcast, or is the joy having a conversation over a cigar with your guests?
I think it's a combination. It's a combination. Just the fact that, I may use my skill set to assist someone who wants to try to start a podcast, and the fact that people I do meet and have these great conversations with and build a bond and build friendships with. So I love that. Based on the pandemic, obviously everything was kind of slow and shut down. As we're starting to turn the curve now, I'll be able to get out a little bit more, some different places, some different lounges, and get some different guests on, because I think this year I may start video. So that is the thing that's going to be kind of new for Smoke World, starting video. Even though I don't have a face for video, but it is what it is.
I thought we agreed over a drink before that you have a better face for radio.
Absolutely. I would not disagree with that.
I'm just teasing.
Absolutely. So but yeah, this year I do believe I am going to venture out into the video, because as human creatures, they want to see something. People want to see something. They want to have a visual. Podcasts are okay, has its place, but a lot of people want to see something. You would get more people to, I guess, tune in if you have something for them to look at.
Listen, I'm sure people looked at this tonight and said, what? His event's 4 to 11,
What
7 hours. What the hell? No one does a 7-hour cigar event. But I will say this. Where's Pat? Pat's over there. I don't know if he could hear me.
Pat's trying to blend in over there.
Don't tell his name again. But Pat was the one that said to me, I said, what time do you want me to go? So he said, oh, no, do you want to start at 4? I said, sure. And I said, what time do you close? He goes, we close at 11. I said, what do you want me to end at 7? He said, you're going to be here in Delaware. Just do it till 11. I said, okay.
So it was a setup.
It was a total setup.
It was a setup, brother.
I think it was a bad ploy to have me go watch a cricket game, but that's okay. But in all seriousness, so you're doing that. You're going to go to video. For you, it would be a lot easier to go to video. For me, I have to make a phone call. For the time it would take for me to do all of this, I just don't have the time. Or let me say this, I have the time, I choose not to spend it learning how to do that. It's much easier for me to have someone do it for me or with me
Right.
than to have me sit alone. There's no way I could have done this tonight. No way, zero. So with you already have an inclination and skill set to do the video. It's just a matter of when you want to get it going, correct?
Well, here's the thing too with video. Now, video requires additional equipment, so now it would be an additional cost because you do have, even though cell phones are now great technology, but to really get a nice picture, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you heard me
Right.
say, that's a $1,000 camera.
Yes, the
you know?
4K.
So it's an investment.
So yeah, you may be able to start off, using your cell phone, but eventually to get that quality that you really need, I think you have to upgrade your system. So I don't have a camera in that sense, but mixers and cables and all that kind of stuff, the lighting. Actually, the lighting I do not have. I don't have the lighting. So that's a whole nother thing, but I can still work with a small budget.
Yeah.
To get, you don't need, this is professional lighting here. I don't necessarily need that to do what I need to do. I'm not on his level yet.
Ming, is this professional lighting?
Absolutely.
It is, but it's cheap. Amazon. You can't read it on Amazon.
Ming's trying to push. You got to go to Ming. You got to go to his website. Ming's smart man. He's like, listen, you come see me. I take care. I tell you what you need to get. Don't give him no more secrets out, Ming.
Yeah.
No more Amazon tricks. Tell him it costs $1,000.
We want to. We got the lock on the podcast. Just a shared
Exactly.
universe and Smoke World, and that's it. No one else.
Proprietary here.
So you're going to go to video soon. You're excited about that. What about your guests? What are you looking to do with the level of guests? Like, are you looking to do athletes or
everybody.
what type of guests?
Well, the good thing about Smoke World, I'm not locked in just to talk about cigars. That's just a foundation. That's a starting point. Some of my guests smoke cigars. Some don't. So it's not a requirement that Smoke World you be a smoker. That you
Have
smoke
you
cigars.
interviewed somebody that does not smoke cigars?
I have.
No shit.
I have a guy named, I think, Paul Allen. He wrote a book called When Tobacco Was King. Now, he doesn't smoke cigars, but he wrote about the tobacco trade,
The whole
going back
country
in
was
time.
founded on it.
Right, so he goes back and tells that history.
Yeah.
So he's not a cigar smoker.
No shit.
But he's from Canada.
How was that?
It was very interesting.
Yeah?
It was very interesting.
You have my word. I promise you this. I'm gonna go back and listen to that.
Definitely. I actually haven't put it out there yet. So he's maybe 2 episodes away from being published. So about maybe 2 weeks, Paul Allen, and the book is called When Tobacco Was King. And
Okay.
it gives a history of tobacco, the trade from North Carolina, and how his father worked in the tobacco trade and how things were. So it's very interesting.
So you're just gonna find interesting people to talk to, smokers or not, and
Well,
have 'em on.
absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so again, like I said, it's not a requirement that you smoke. And a lot of people hear that word Smoke World. I don't know why people think of weed first. They're like, oh, Smoke World, what's that, weed? No, sir. No, it's
Yeah.
not weed.
Yeah.
Not marijuana.
Could be though.
It could be, but it's not. Speaking of the weed, speaking of that, I did have one of my buddies here, one of my brothers of the leaf, named Austin, the Delaware CBD.
Oh, I see Austin right there with the hat backwards. What's up, Austin? Shout out.
So-
Austin's one of the first people I met here, if not the first person I met here.
Right now, he has a business, and he actually talks about the hemp. I'm not going to be able to discuss it like he would, and you maybe bring him up here, give him a couple minutes to discuss about what he does. And I think it's very beneficial. It has its place. So again, I stay in my lane.
Yeah, but I think we all stay in our lane. But the podcasts I love the most is ones where I learn something.
Right.
So if I don't know anything about CBD, and listen, I don't know, a lot of people, you throw out the legalization of marijuana, CBD, hemp, blah, blah, blah. There's so much talk about it. And everybody, I think, wants to have a say in it, but it's largely an uninformed
That's correct.
conversation. Because
Yes.
not a lot of people know the differences between marijuana, CBD, hemp, blah, blah, blah. And they
Yes.
assume, like, I'll tell you right now, if I was talking to my mother and I said hemp, she would assume it's pot right away.
Right.
And it could be. I don't even know.
And that's
You
the
know?
thing. That's why I stay in my lane. Again,
Yep.
like I said, folks like himself, his company, they'll be able to educate those individuals and find, a lot of medicinal uses for the hemp, the marijuana. Again, I'm staying in my lane. We can bring Austin up here. He can discuss that a little bit. But
Love it.
there are a lot of different entities. I think it has its place. Where actually now, again, education is the
Yep.
key. Those.
In all things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All things.
Absolutely.
Shit, we were talking about at the lounge, what's going on in the country. It's just education and being able to put yourself in other people's shoes. Like if I don't
True.
know about CBD, hemp, and marijuana, just, okay, so I'll walk in those shoes for a couple miles, I'll learn about it and say, okay, now I can make an informed opinion. But until then, shut the fuck up because you don't know what you're talking about.
There you go. You're just thinking about from back in the day when everybody got high at,
Yeah.
where was you at? Back in the 60s? How old are you again? Oh, my bad. I won't talk about you then.
That's
When
meant.
you-
You know,
back in '66 when you was out there
he threw me in the '60s.
smoking
It's cool.
and drinking in your
it's cool.
Volkswagen.
It's cool. I know I'm showing a little gray. I should have gotten a crew cut. I just got a haircut 2 days knowing I was coming onto this, and I didn't get the crew cut. If I got the crew cut, there would be less gray. But now that there's more gray because I didn't get the crew cut, he's put me in the '60s. That's totally cool.
Hey, bro. Listen, we all
Next
get old,
guest.
brother. Exactly. Next. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next.
Bastard.
Commercial break.
I'm seasoned. I like that. I'm seasoned.
Lemon
I'm
pepper.
seasoned. It's experience in these temples here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know what? It's funny. I play in the church league, and I played up until the pandemic, but it was funny. They let the old man run with them still. The only thing I could do now is maybe get a ribby or two and make some passes, but the scoring for me, not happening these days.
So you saying, oh,
No, not at all.
But I got a question
Not at
here.
all.
Okay, so
No.
you
You're
saying
not
you
done
got some
yet.
skills?
No. That was the first question. You didn't answer the second one.
Okay, sir.
Where are you going with it?
Where am I going with it?
Bro, he thought I was letting him off.
Yeah, I like that.
I wasn't letting him off,
You
bro.
sure you wasn't a cop in your former life? You see, he hang around these cops too long. These cops. Well, well, that's interesting. He mentioned that.
I wish we had mics on the crowd because they're shouting some shit
Well,
out
he
of
can-
Kev.
I think we can hear that. We can hear him. Interestingly enough, speaking of those places, I am being listened to in 8 countries, so that's a good thing. Like I said, I only been started, less than 8 months ago. So India, Russia, Poland, Switzerland, the UK, United Emirates.
Your podcast is listened to in all those countries?
Yes, sir. I could put my phone out. Maybe I could read the list, but nonetheless, Taiwan.
Damn.
Yeah, 8 countries. I just got a little notification from Spotify saying, congratulations, you're being heard in 8 countries. So I said, oh, wow, that's pretty nice.
Damn. Listen, I want this shit to end right now so we can talk about this. Are you kidding me?
No, sir.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
That's awesome. So what do you want to build on that? Like, do you want to expand to more countries or how are you looking to grow
Again,
it?
I think the content is important. And so I was thinking like, okay, we're talking about cigars. We're talking about, I would call infotainment, where we entertain, but again, people want to learn something. So some folks come on, again, at the end of the day, how many blenders, fillers, and binders can we really talk about?
Listen, you're talking to the cigar manufacturer that has felt that way since day one, and people, they kill me for it in the industry. They kill me for it. Like
For saying that? For thinking
for
that?
thinking that, right? Like, so anyway, I'm way more about the human interest behind the cigar smoker than I am the cigar itself, and that's to my fault. People will be like,
Well, the experience. I think the experience is important.
I
mean, again, your blend, because again, you're a company, and it's cigar companies, that is their bread and butter. So it's important for them to discuss, this is my product, and this is why my product may be better than the other product.
yes, and to my point, I'm throwing myself under the bus. I need to get better in that regard of focusing on the product more. Listen, I focus on the product, I focus on the quality. I was early in Aganorsa, right? So I was still with them when they were Casa Fernandez. I was selling them out of my shop. I loved it so much. I actually released a cigar before Los Caidos called Perfection with Raleigh Massimino Villanova.
Okay.
And I had to beg Paul Palmer for almost 9 months to make the cigar for me because he said, you don't even have a cigar right now. You're a nobody. You're a no-name. Nobody even knows you.
Right.
And I had to ask for 9 straight months until he said to me around August, this is never going to stop, is it? I said, no. Right? So then they decided to come on. So I was with them way before people all of a sudden said, oh my gosh, Aganorsa Leaf is the best thing in the world. Right? So I was early on with them. So you've said it a few times tonight, I stayed in my lane. For what it would take for me to become as great a blender as Arsenio Ramos, God rest his soul, and other people in Nicaragua, it would have taken, like you with the podcasting and me with the podcasting, it would have taken 7 years, for me to really
Right.
be that great. So I trust other people to blend. I asked Arsenio to blend my cigar for the experience. We're going to remember people who we loved and lost. We're going to have people who seldom smoke cigars and want to partake in a ceremony, and we're going to have everyday cigar smokers. So it needs to be medium-bodied for that experience. I didn't say I want this leaf, this leaf, this leaf, this leaf.
Gotcha.
So that's my experience. But I think so many people focus on the cigar and the differences in the cigar. To our point earlier, do you like it or not?
Right. That's
You know,
the
I'm
bottom
not,
line.
I'm not looking for a leaf that tastes like nuts or cherry or cinnamon or wood or leather or pine or whatever, I just want a cigar that it's high quality from fucking the best leaf that people are going to love and be able to have and be able to not focus on. Let me say this: the absence of a shitty cigar allows them to focus on the people to whom they're speaking and
Yes.
having the conversation. So if you come out with a great cigar, great leaf, great quality, and it allows people to talk and open up without saying, why is this tunneling, why is this cracking, why is this breaking, and they could focus on the conversation, I think that's, for me personally, accomplished, a job accomplished. We've got a great cigar made by a top factory in the industry. Now I could focus on having conversations with people I care about. That's for me what it is.
Well, that's a good thing. Now, think about that because it's not sidetracking. We got cigars. There's so many different cigar companies out there. So let's talk about marketing. What are the tricks, or maybe what have you learned in reference to marketing your cigar? Because I have some ideas, and I think about this. We think about podcasts. Podcasts have now becoming very popular. You know, they came out many years ago, nobody paid any attention. But now it's about, millions of podcasts out here. So, for example, the cigar industry, there is no commercial, per se. When I say commercial, because I'm a music guy, a jingle. You think about Folgers. The best part of waking up, Folgers in your cup. Those are the type of things you hear. So as a cigar company, it's just people saying, hey, smoke this particular cigar, has this leaf, this binder. There is no jingle. And I always wondered why. There is no, let's think about this for a second. Let's say you get the crappiest cigar out there, but you get a hottest genre, if it'll be rap, pop, and they start to say or sing about your cigar, rap about your cigar. Now, a crappy cigar company now blew up, is off the mat. And these other cigar companies are looking like, that's a crap. And it could be crap. But the marketing has changed the game.
There are two books I read on that during the pandemic when I was doing my deep dive on where does this company want to become. And one book was called Make Some Noise, the former marketing director of Harley-Davidson. He was the keynote speaker at the PCA trade show. His name is Ken Schmidt, lives in Maryland. I read that book and it impacted what we're going to be coming out with. And the other one was called Blue Ocean Strategy. And they changed the game for me. So you'll see what comes of it. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to ruin a surprise for people when they see it. But there's going to be a few different things, including like right now, our tagline is meet new people, have fun, help others.
Okay.
That's changed. That is going to be changing when we come out with the new products.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. But I always thought about that. There is no standard for, Perdomo, AJ Fernandez. It's just somebody on the podcast saying, hey, smoke AJ Fernandez cigar, blah, blah, blah. But just somebody reading something. Yeah. There is no standard.
Well, I think Los Caidos may be
changing the game?
No, it's going to be Los Caidos in your cup. I'm just going to steal Folgers. Fuck it.
But no, just something to think about.
Because,
it is. With all that's going on with music. And
well,
music
it's so hard in cigars, right? Because, this could be a 3-hour podcast, but it's a race to the bottom. Everybody wants to say handmade premium this, handmade premium that, and then all the consumers are getting their catalogs, and the first 6 words on any magazine they get is free, 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 or I'll give you, 2 shot glasses, a couple ice cubes, and a pocket knife if you buy 10 boxes. Like, we're just racing to the bottom. There's very little premium about it anymore, and I would like to see the consumer behavior change towards that. Right? I don't want to see. If you're a premium product, you're not getting 40 cigars for $10. You're not.
Not at all.
You're not getting, hey, let me go to the Mercedes and Lexus dealership and see if I get 4 cars for 1. Or, hey, please buy my cigar and I'll give you a free hat and a t-shirt and a golf course lesson. Like, what the hell are we doing? So anyway, that's just my opinion. I'm trying to get away from that game, and that's why I'm taking a lot of time to figure it out.
I'm going to give a shout out too. I want to say there's a new platform in town. It's called StogieLives.com. It's a platform that's been created by a female. It's similar to Facebook, but it does not have all those tobacco-related restrictions as Facebook does. You post something on Facebook, cigar-related sometime. Technically, they have these rules that you're really not supposed to. But this young lady named Val created a new platform, a social media platform. It's called StogieLives.com. We're actually perfect for persons like yourself, a small business who's getting started, where you can actually go out there and promote your products without any restrictions. So I want folks to check that out, StogieLives.com. Sign up for it. It's, again, for cigar lovers. that we can make things happen without those restrictions that's been going on with Facebook, locking people in Facebook jail. You get suspended, your account, terminating, deleting your account. You don't have to worry about all that. She's really concentrating on the small businesses, small podcasts, brick and mortar stores, the cigar companies. It's a great platform.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to end right now at 6:36, and if my next guest comes in, I'd like to give him the proper welcome and
Yes, sir. I appreciate
that
you
he
having me up
deserves,
there,
because
brother.
he does, I don't know if he knows about the place. He could be texting or calling. I don't know what's going on. So at this point, at 6:36, I'm going to take about a 9-minute break.
Commercial break.
I'm going to
Commercial
go
break.
9-minute break. So if you're watching live, please stay on, because the next guest was very instrumental in this state as far as men's basketball is concerned. But he may be lost. He's not a cigar smoker. He's never been here before. It's a new place. And my phone has 6-7 missed calls. Most of them might be from him, so I have to check it out. But anyway, thank you so much for staying tuned as long as you have. Thank you for everybody here who's live smoking Los Caidos. I see a lot of Los Caidos hats and everything. Thank you so much. The guests will sign them. And I'll say something maybe off the air because I don't want to put his stuff out there, but you are with the famous TV actor who may feel inclined to sign a box or two since he was a guest on this show, but I'm not going to say that for him, Ming Chen. But anyway, I'd like to close this piece with the only greeting we ever give to each other.
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, smoke world! Thank you so much, Kev. Love you,
Thank
brother.
you, brother. Appreciate you.
You're going to hold it on as you talk. This is my microphone. I'm going to hold it on as I talk.
Okay. Jack, you just sit in the background over here.
And then, yes,
You
and
just
if
get
you
back.
want to get on here as well,
I'd
I'm
love to
going to
have.
set this third chair up, right?
Yeah,
And then you could.
Oh, yeah, I could. I think we got another hour. You got at least
sure?
an hour on there. Yeah, I charge it up.
Can you just put it on there for me? I can't see it. Look, I can't look down and see it. You good? All right. So now Ming. Ming, let me ask you this. He could sit here and use my mic then, right? Yeah. All right, so just hold on to this and then go ahead if you can. Hold on to that. You could talk into that one. And this is going to be this. It's going to be this. This is only my first beer. Don't think I'm wasted doing this. This is the set director.
I should get that on video.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Ming, you just tell me when we're ready to go live again.
So you live down here now?
No, I still live home. I still live in the same area I grew up in. Yep, I still live there. And Ming, did you get those pictures I sent of Asbury Park High School? And are you able to show the? Yeah, cue them up because that'll be awesome. So Anthony, what I did is I sent them to you. Those two pictures of boys club and that.
Yeah. You saw that Asbury High.
And I apologize. Your first name? Jack. Okay, Jack. I'm sorry. I'm Steve. Nice to see you again. Nice to meet you.
Yep.
This is great. And then
Moving it, man.
It was perfect.
does the cigar smoke bother you if I smoke? Okay. Ming, did you go live yet?
Yeah, we're live.
All right.
Yep, I got the photo.
There you go. Bang. There you go.
All right. So welcome back, everybody, from the short break. I cannot tell you, I'm almost going to take a deep breath here because I cannot tell you, I'm even going to get this out of the picture. I don't want this in the picture. I cannot tell you how excited I am to bring this next person. I'd be lying to say we're best of friends because we've lost touch a little bit, a lot of it. Haven't talked to him in a minute, but the impact he had on my life, and it's almost gonna be hard to talk about without crying. I'm gonna be hard pressed to really discuss our relationship and our past without crying. So I'm going to do my best to fight back tears as I express how happy I am and how grateful I am that this gentleman, this man, is now here to support me, support the event, that I asked him to come out because I wanted to catch up with him, I wanted to talk to him, but also I'm a Steeler fan. I'll never have a Baltimore Raven on the show. Eagles I could have had on, but those guys maybe live here, but they did their work in Philly. This man did his work in Delaware. And it's March Madness now, basketball tournament. He coaches at Tatnall, had a great run up to the other night, made the semifinal championship game. And unfortunately the ball didn't bounce that way. We've all been there. But he's a class act. And it is my extreme pleasure to have tonight on the show Anthony Wright, who's on that team that brought the University of Delaware to their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. So Anthony, what's up, man?
How are you? How you doing?
See you. I'm doing blessed. And he brought with him his dear friend who helps him at Tatnall as assistant coach, Jack. Jack, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Nice to see you. So
Best friends.
it's one of Anthony's best friends, and it's really funny calling you Anthony because when growing up, it was all sweet.
It's still sweet.
Everybody calls him sweet.
Oh, do they? Do they know
Coach-
the sweet down?
Coach
Do
Sweet.
they know the sweet? It's still
Coach
sweet down
Sweet.
here? I didn't know that. So there's a couple things I'm going to say, and I don't have my reading glasses on right now, But I think I'll be able to go off of it. As far as the University of Delaware, Anthony, so I try to give, even though I know you and you're a friend and really impacted my life, I try not to gloss over anything and give you the respect in doing the research on you.
Okay.
So at University of Delaware, and you may not even, I did this with Jason Thompson at an event like this, and I read him some stats. He didn't even know the shit about himself, and I don't know if you're going to know this about yourself either.
We're going to find out.
You're going to find out. So did you know that you are currently 18th on the list in scoring at University of Delaware, top 20 scorer?
Yes.
You did know that, okay.
Yes. It's been years, so when I left, I was in the top 10. I knew that.
Okay, field goals made. Field goals made, where are you at?
I was maybe top 10 too.
Top 10. Number 9. Top 10. Rebounds, where are you at?
Top 10. Probably like 12 or 13 now.
Close, 12 or 13 now. You are
Yes.
13
I
now,
was top 10.
right? Steals,
I was top 10. I don't know where it's at now.
top 10. Keep going, brother.
Where?
Top 5.
Top 5.
You are number 5 in steals all time at University of Delaware. Like I could keep going and going and going. Games played,
Oh, I was number 1 when I left.
yeah, we
I'm like
played
2 now.
30 in a row.
Yes.
Okay. Free throw attempts,
12.
13. And you were the first person to ever attempt and successfully make a free throw in Delaware's basketball history. Did you know that?
No, that's news.
Yes, we have a no. He did not know that. He did not know that. So, folks, this gentleman led the University of Delaware to their first ever NC2A tournament appearance, and I'm going to get into. And by the way, I bought this picture for you.
You missed one.
This is your.
You know what you missed?
What I miss?
You're doing research.
What I miss? I could go through 7
Okay.
sheets. I didn't know how long you wanted to go.
Oh, no. I was the first ever rookie of the year in Delaware history.
No kidding.
Yeah, in the
Sweet.
tournament. Ever.
That's awesome. And Vin Baker was around when you played too,
Absolutely.
at Hartford.
Oh, yeah.
So, dude, I read the whole history.
That's my
so
man.
you did work on him though.
Me and Vinny went hard. Yes.
You and Vin went hard.
Oh, yeah.
So that was absolutely incredible to read because I'm going to share with everybody why and how I know Anthony. So growing up, I went to mostly an all-white school. We had one African-American player, Bobby Barnes, with whom I was very close. His son ended up recently playing for me in high school and ended up going to Princeton. So Bobby and I have still a good relationship. A lot of the guys from that team stayed close. But I was a white kid at a Catholic high school and wanted to get better at basketball. And in the mid-'80s in New Jersey, in Asbury Park, there wasn't a whole lot of areas where a white kid can go get better to play basketball.
Correct.
Would you agree with that?
Correct.
And Asbury was a place, and again, I printed out some articles here. If you didn't live through it, they had the Gods, the Kings, the Crush, the Crips, Bloods. They had everything going on. The gang fighting was prevalent. Would you agree with that, or am I embellishing?
No, you're not. It was out of control.
Okay. So my parents, who enjoyed a little bit of wealth, mom drove the Mercedes, refused to take me to, and Ming, I don't know if you can cue this up now if you have time. I'd love to show the audience some of the pictures I took before coming down here of Asbury Park High School, the boys club. It looks beautiful now, but the picture that Ming's about to show the live audience was the boys club where me, you, Coach
Yes.
Cole, and Ham,
Coach Ham.
right? So Tico
God bless
Hamry,
him so.
Tico Hamry was going to come down here.
Yes.
He's now starting a football showcase, and he has a major event in another state this week. So he says hello, and he's sorry he couldn't make it. But Tico Hamry says hi.
Always show love.
The love you had from people like Love and Fosk, all those guys back home send their love. They couldn't be here, but they send their love. Those are guys I all know because I grew up playing ball with them. So how this happened was my mother said, you want to get better at playing basketball. I had two guys interested in me. Coach Coleman, Coach Hamry said, you need to be playing with us, white boy. So I was like, okay. And that's how they came at you. There was no race stuff. He said, hey, white boy, St. Rose, you need your ass with us. I said, okay, they didn't even know my name. They just called me white boy for a while, me and C.J. Simmons.
St. Rose.
Right? St. Rose, that was it. So
Yes.
then I said, and people here might think this shit's not like.
No, it's real.
It's
They were the
real.
only two in the whole gym, and trust me, they called them St. Rose and the White Boys.
St. Rose and White Boy. I didn't have a name in this AAU program. So, oh, hell, you know that. So, listen, even if I got fouled, I couldn't, you never called a foul because you weren't allowed back. So, listen, it was just growing up different times. Younger kids, I don't think today can appreciate it.
He know.
So my mother would pull up to Asbury Park maybe, I mean, it was right off of Memorial and down past Prospect and Summerfield. So what, a mile to the boys club? About a mile and a half to the boys club. My mother refused to go into Asbury because of the gangs, the murders, and everything, the drugs that was going on. And she said, if you want to play basketball, this is the best I can do. I'm going to drop you off at this street corner. Am I lying?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then there was one guy there that said, bro, I have your back. You want to play basketball on this team like Coach Coleman and Coach Hamry want to have you play on this team. If they want you to be on this team, we need you to be on this team. I will come meet you on that corner, and we will walk a mile and a half to get to the gym. But if you're with me, you're cool. No one's going to touch you. And do you know who that man was? Anthony Wright. So Anthony, I got to thank you so much, man. So that was real. That was real talk. So talk about that for a minute. Talk about the life in Asbury Park, what you had to overcome to be basketball, what basketball meant for you, and talk about the background, because kids today, they don't realize what a background you came from to excel, man. It's amazing.
Well, I mean, it's hard because when you live it, it's your life. And I always tell people, like, you are where you come from, and I'm from Asbury, so to me it was like, it's what we expect. It's what we do every day. You coming in, it was different for you because you didn't have the past. I had the past. I was the hometown hero. I was from Asbury. Everybody wanted me to succeed, but the same thing, the gangs and stuff was still going on, and if you didn't belong, they wouldn't allow you in there. So I knew with you coming in with me, and I knew you guys wanted to play basketball, and I knew you guys were tough because, like you say, when you get fouled, you didn't call it, you belong there. So you went through that, and you know what it's like. You don't call your fouls. So I knew they were tough. I knew that him and CJ were great kids, great people. And I'm like, yo, y'all want to learn? I'm with you. So, but on the other hand of that, Asbury, it was gangs, it was drugs. You walk past it every day. Your role model was the drug dealer because that's what you saw every day. So a lot of kids,
just hold that a little closer.
A lot of kids want to be like those guys. I mean, I lost a lot of friends because they looked up to those guys. They got our girlfriends in high school. All our girlfriends dated them. So why wouldn't they want to be that guy? They had money. We thought that was successful. And you know, after you looking back at it, I'm like, man, that was success for us. We graduated high school. We made it in our world.
Yes,
it wasn't about college. You know, I was just so fortunate enough that, I had A's and B's. I was a great athlete. So I had a way out, and I knew it was my way out, and I knew something was different about me than a lot of people. I'm talking academically and athletically. Yep. So I know I had to see what was out there. And once I left it, you saw a lot of different things in life, and a lot of people from Asbury don't see that. Yep. So when I go back and I try to tell them there's a lot more out there in life, it's hard to convince them that because that's what they see.
That's all they know.
That's all they know. Yep. So when people say, what's their mindset of someone that comes from a place like that, I said, it's how we live. Mm-hmm. We don't know any other mindset. Just like if you wasn't from there, your mindset would be wherever you from. So you would think that's life. So people in Asbury thought that's what life was. Yep. So we fought each other. They killed each other. We sold to each other. I think it's very sad that I had a drug that I knew that would turn somebody's life out, and we still sold it to our own families and communities, and we do it every day, and we fought and killed for the same thing. Yep. It's kind of sad, but when I go back, there's a lot of positive people who try to change things, and you look at Asbury now, Asbury is beautiful right now. Yep. It's different, but growing up,
would I have been? I know we've partly painted the picture, and I think this answer to my question will answer best. Would I have ever been able to have been your AAU teammate had you not done that for me?
No way. You wouldn't have made it through. You would never made it through there.
Right.
I mean, it's times that anybody didn't belong in there. They never made it out.
Yep. I
mean, it was tough.
And I want to emphasize something you said that I really think important is you said we made it. But when you said we made it, and I'm assuming you also are talking with Mark Murray, right? His other teammate of that time. Mm-hmm. They both went to Delaware, both led the team to the NCAA tournament. When you say you made it, you're not saying you made it to the next level, because you said it's not about college. You just made it out alive.
Yes.
Is that what you were saying?
Absolutely. I mean, I still to this day go to funerals, like I would say at least 4 times, 3 times in like every 3 or 4 months, of people I grew up with, or guys that's their sons, or the fathers. It's sad, so it's different, but it's our life.
Yep.
You don't forget about it.
I won't.
I will never forget about it. I still go. I still represent. We have a class. Our class have a thing. We do things for kids, like a fundraiser. That we do stuff for the kids in high schools. We still do a lot of things down there.
Yep.
I'm not there, but we still give back.
That's awesome. And then, Jack, I'm going to bring you on when I talk about Anthony's current life at Tatnall, because you're a huge part of that. But for right now, I'm going to read 4 paragraphs. It was on an article from one of your teammates, Spencer Dunkley. Okay? So this came from an article, USA Today newspaper, written by, I didn't print out the whole article. I didn't want to put my reading glasses on, so I had to print out in really large letters, and the whole thing didn't fit. So here are 4 paragraphs from it, and I will be quick. Lack of experience limits Dunkley at both ends of the court. To succeed in the NBA, he'll have to develop more offensive moves. On defense, he's effective guarding his man, but has to learn how to help out better. Dunkley's teammates have helped polish his skills. During spring break of their freshman year, Anthony Wright took Dunkley to the playgrounds in his hometown of Asbury Park, New Jersey, for an advanced course in hoops education. If Dunkley could survive Asbury Park pickup games, Wright knew there was pro potential. It's a different type of ball there, said Wright, 6'6" senior. They play real hard, and there's a lot of smaller guys who go real hard at you. Dunkley wasn't used to dunking the ball. He didn't play physical. When we first came back from the park, we both had blood on our shirts. That's how the game is played. He started getting tough. Do you remember those days?
Absolutely.
Tell me about him. Tell everyone about him.
Well, Spence, he played at Newark High School. Spence Dunkley, like 6'11". I saw him playing in high school, but he wasn't like tough. So I was like, listen, Spence, I said, for you to make it, you got to learn how to be tough. So I'm like, listen, so this summer I was like, I'm going to take you home with me. And I'm like,
there ain't any tougher places.
No. I was like, because there ain't no fouls. You live there, you go there, you bleed when you leave. So he didn't believe me when I told him that. We left there, we was all bloody. He remembered that day. And also, I took Spencer there. I also took Alex Coles there. And Alex Coles from Richmond, Virginia. And we went there too. And he played there in the Shore. He played in the Shore Summer League. We played there, and they was like, wow. Couldn't believe the basketball level and how tough people were. Yeah, so it's a great experience. But that got us to the NCAA tournaments, that toughness that they got from Asbury.
So now talk about that. You leave Asbury Park. You were kind of forged in stone, right? You had all this gang activity, murders, drugs, just everything. You are able to leave it, as you said. You were able to make it out alive. You're now at Delaware. Now, for the people who don't know you like I know you, you were also a possible future Olympian in a high jump. I want you to tell people in a second how high you used to jump and where that was going, and your football prowess.
Yes.
You could have been and you were signed by, I think, Syracuse, or recruited by Syracuse.
Notre Dame.
So talk about that. Talk about the injury, how you funneled it to Delaware, and then your experience bringing Delaware to the tournament, and I'm shutting up.
Okay. In Asbury, I was a 3-time pretty much All-American, All-State, all 3 sports. I was number 2 high jumper in the country coming out of Asbury. I was
how high were you jumping?
Like 6'11", 7'1" as a junior in high school. And I also was one of the top recruited football quarterback and free safeties in the country. I visited Syracuse with Desmond Howard, which was the Heisman Trophy winner. And I had like Miami, Notre Dame, USC. I had like every big, Penn State. But I love USC. I probably played football there. So I was predicted by my sophomore year probably go to NFL. And then I was playing in Wall Township in high school, which I was about to probably score like almost 20-something hundred points in high school. But in Wall, I got hurt and I tore my ACL, MCL. Someone ran into me, hyperextended it. I remember it like yesterday because my mom was there, and I was on the floor, and I got up, I walked off, and she was like, I was like, it's over. She's like, what? I said, it's done, because every time I walk, I could feel it give out, and I was like, that's it. And she was like, no, and she started crying. I just held it together, but then I went to, I was like, so I went through like a little bit of depression because I was on top of the world. And then I was sitting in my room, and it was a very small room, and just sitting on the couch, and you was by yourself, and then you was lonely. Then I had to like kind of pick myself up. Then my only dad I know, which is a true story, it's a white man, his name is Coach Wayne. He's been my Pop Warner coach since I was 5.
And what was his last name? Horton or Norton or something?
Wayne Holton.
Holton, you're right.
Holton.
Right.
He knew me since 5. He bought me my first pair of cleats when I was 5 because my mom really couldn't afford it. But Coach Wayne he came in every day, make sure I was doing the right things, make sure my academics was straight. And he was like, listen, I'm going to take care of you. So he called Dr. Norman Scott, which is the Dream Team doctor at a Lenox Hill in New York. He did Bernard King's, Patrick Ewing's. He was there with Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing's. So he did my surgery. And then I was in New York, and I was came out of surgery. And I just got out of surgery, and my phone rang, and I picked it up, and I was kind of doozy, and it was Delaware. And Delaware was like, listen, we don't care what happens with your surgery. We're going to give you a full ride, no matter what. And the reason why I came to Delaware is because they were loyal to me. Then St. John's called me, Seton Hall actually called me later, but I just ignored them because I already knew where I was going. And plus, my high school teammate, which won the state championship, was at Delaware. And I was like, you know what?
That's Mark Murray.
That's Mark Murray.
Yep.
So I decided, Delaware was going to be a place, even if I didn't come back, I knew I could play at Delaware because I knew I was bigger than Delaware, but I knew coming back I'll be able to play there, and they were loyal to me. So that's why I signed at Delaware that same day.
Yep. How hard did you have to work to recover from the knee surgery at Delaware, and what was it like for you, Mark? And by the way, in my financial world and working with Leon Rose, I also know Andre Buck very well.
But wow.
So, I think he worked with Jason Thompson.
Jason Thompson, it's a small world.
It is a small world. But talk what it was like to put a small university like that on your back, on Mark's back, and bring them to the first ever NCAA tournament.
Well, when we first got here, we knew that we had something special. We had a great group. We had Alex Coles, me, myself, Murray, Spencer. We had a group that just wanted to work, and we wanted to do something special. And, then once we got Brian Pearl, which is the point guard that kind of cemented everything, it was so special to see the energy on campus, the bars, wherever you went, everybody knew you. It was amazing. It was probably one of the best feelings in the world to see a whole university just support you, follow you, and you go down there and represent the first time in school history.
Talk about that picture that I posted. So before the show started, I don't know if you're on social media heavy or whatever, but I showed that picture of everybody in the stands looking up at the rim, and you slam dunking with emphasis to say, man, we just made it to the tournament. Oh. Talk to me about that moment, because it's March Madness. People in here may not have that experience that you had. What is it like to realize the dream, all your setbacks, coming out of Asbury with all the negative things you could have gone to? You escaped alive. You go to Delaware. You work after the surgery. You're could be Olympian, NFL pick, and everything. And all of a sudden say, I'm riding or dying with these dudes that were loyal to me. And boom, now we're going to the dance. What did that feel like? Explain it for people. Try to explain it.
Well, it's hard to put in words because your emotions are so high. The adrenaline is so high. You can look around and you see everybody in there just there for you, in the team. And when I dunked it, I remember it like yesterday when I landed. I knew that was game. It was over, and we was going to the dance, and the place just went crazy.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere around the campus was amazing.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Now, so I went to Villanova, and I know that the guys on that first championship team in '85 were adored forever. You can identify them in any room, like, there's, Jensen and Blood.
Yes,
Pickney,
absolutely.
We played in the Jersey Shore League.
Absolutely.
Right? So you had all those guys, and they're immediately identifiable. Do you ever go back to campus, and is there a shared love? Do people remember those days? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the respect that you get from that, I still walk around now. I can walk in Klondike Cakes. They still will bring me a root beer because they know I don't drink when I go there. It's like I'll have dinner and they'll still bring me root beers. Everyone still knows me. I could be in a mall. I could be walking on campus. I could be at a school, and they was like, they know. Trust me, it was real. It was surreal.
It is. That's
He
awesome.
He can go anywhere. He
Yeah.
can go anywhere, and everybody knows him. Everybody sees him. It don't matter where you are. Somebody knows Sweet. They
That's-
yell Sweet.
That's
Everywhere,
awesome.
everywhere.
That's awesome. So, bring it on that point. You're now out of Delaware. You've stayed here. You're now coaching at Tatnall. What is that experience like going from player to coach?
Well, I mean, the transition was easy because I know that it took hard work to make it, and I'm all about hard work, and I try to install that into my players, that hard work beats talent when the talent don't work hard. And, you know, that school, when I first got there, Tatnall was like 0-22 every single year.
real?
Yes. I took them to their first high school state championship in school history.
I did not know that.
We got 5 Final Fours, a state championship, in the first time in their school histories.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm not surprised, though. I'm not surprised at all.
Why?
Huh? Because it's you leading the team.
Absolutely.
So, does it piss you off? Because it did for me. You know how hard we worked. And when I was coaching Point Pleasant Beach High School, I couldn't stand kids who didn't work as hard as I did. How do you deal with that? Because listen, you're an amazing dude. You're an amazing player.
Appreciate
one of the
that.
top ever athletes coming out of New Jersey, right? You took Delaware to the tournament, and now you're coaching kids
Yes.
at a high school level, interstate, and you're like, man, I brought them to the first ever championship. What does any kid say to you? Like, nobody can say anything to you. So how do you get on the kids to work their hardest every day?
Well, I think kids understand real. They understand when you being honest with them. I tell them my stories all the time. They still can never believe that I had never had a drink in my life. I never smoked a cigarette in my life. I never did a drug in my life. And when I tell them where I come from and where I came from and tell them the stories, I get their attention and they cannot believe it.
Yeah.
And I told them just hard work is being loyal and being dedicated to something, and they get it. They get my passion because I coach with passion and I keep it real with them, and I think they buy into it.
Yeah. So, Jack, how old are you?
I'm 44.
All right, so you're 44, a little younger than I am, a little younger than Sweet. What do you see in him, and what is it like to coach under somebody with his pedigree, I'd say? Not even pedigree, because you really earned everything on your own. So what is it like to coach under him? How demanding is he? And, like, are you... Like, I'd be in awe of him as I'm on the bench, like, holy shit, this is Anthony Wright. Like, I can't believe this. Like, how do you guys work together as coaches? How are you finding the experience?
To be honest, I don't feel all. I don't feel the all,
Yeah.
but there's respect. I've known this man for 10 years, and I learned so much from him in regards to the game. I was an aspiring coach when I came on to the bench when he asked me to, and the stuff that I've learned from him and the passion that he shows the kids, how to deal with kids, how to just deal with people, that's what I've learned from him.
Yeah.
And I think there's a mutual respect there that I have the same passion that he has. And that's how it works.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You said you learned a lot from him. What's one of the biggest lessons that you would take from, let's say you go get a head coaching job or Anthony moves on and someday you might separate from the bench together, right? What is the lesson you would take away from learning under Anthony?
Just how to deal with people, just how to deal with the kids, the passion, and how to talk to the kids, how to relate to them, and teaching them. What he does more than anything is teach. That's his main thing. Teach the kids, not just basketball, it's life. Basketball is about life.
Do you bring a lot of life experience into your coaching and teaching to them? And let me ask you this: do the kids from Delaware near Tatnall have any of the same problems you had?
Not even close.
Right, because I tried to do my research. It looks like a nice lily white private school.
Yes.
So they might still have drugs, but on a higher end, like we did at St. Rose. You
Yes,
know what I'm saying? So
different.
It's different,
Yes.
right? They might not have the gangs and everything else, but
They still
what
get
problems
them.
do you see on Tatnall, and how were you able to, from your experiences, help those kids through those issues?
Well, drugs are everywhere, and I know one thing: most people don't get good things that are doing drugs. It's normally a bad ending, and once you see kids, you can put reality to kids. They kind of get it more than just it's not make believe. I said there's no do-overs in life when you make big mistakes, and getting drugs and taking overdoses, it's over. Life's over, and they got to understand that I lost a lot of friends from that, and getting the wrong making bad decisions completely stop some people's lives. And I said they need to see that and understand that. So I try to bring that into them.
Yeah.
And being part of a team, I said they got to understand that everything that's a team works together. If one part ain't working, the team's not going to work. And that's from the lowest man to the top man. Everyone got to be one unit for a team to work to be successful. And that's what I try to install in them, that it takes team. Just like a business takes teamwork. Like a family, it takes teamwork. I say everything about life takes teamwork. So you got to learn how to play with others to be successful in this world.
Yeah. What's next? Because I have a couple things I'm still going to share with you. Don't look at the scrapbook. Don't look at the scrapbook.
You're doing that to me.
But so what is next in the life chapter for Anthony Wright, if I'm allowed to ask that? I don't know if you have some stuff going on where you're planning and everything else, but what do you see next as your next stage? Because what are you, 50 now? 51?
Yes.
What are you, 50?
25.
Yeah, so when you turn 26, what's next for you?
The next thing for me, I have 2 master's degrees, which I'm proud to say.
And your mom's a teacher, right?
No.
Or was?
She was a nurse at Mount
Nurse?
Marlboro
Okay,
Stephen.
okay.
So I have 2 master's degrees coming from Asbury Park, where I came from.
What are they in?
Administration and special ed, elementary education. So to me, that was awesome to do, because I never thought in my wildest dreams that I was sitting here telling you that I have too. But so that's incredible. Right now, I think I'm gonna coach a couple of more years, not sure, and go on and probably move to maybe like Florida and golf every day.
He's got to get 250 wins before he goes anywhere. He's at 244.
He's got 244?
That's true.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
correct.
Dude, you're going to get 250.
Yes.
Is he a good golfer? Well, hold on. I'm turning my back to you on this one. Is he a good golfer?
I never golf with him. I'm afraid to.
Are you a good golfer?
No, hell no. Are you good?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, he is.
Yes. I mean, golf is a tough game.
Yeah.
You know that. But I probably putt as good as a professional.
Get out.
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, you know what I would love to do
game.
after this one day? I would love to go golfing with you one day.
Okay.
There's no shortage of guys that will take us up in New Jersey. I know that. And if you got any spots down here, I'm sure someone will
we'll
have
go
us
out.
out. We're
Absolutely.
gonna, promise me that.
I appreciate it.
Promise me that.
Absolutely.
So now so I know there are a couple people here that would love to get Anthony's time and attention. I don't know how much longer he has to stay. I told him about an hour. It's 7:33 right now. So he's probably going to be sticking around till 8 o'clock. So before we go, I just want to say that I have an article from a scrapbook that I photocopied, and it's got Anthony's picture as a high school player against my teammate C.J. Simmons in the Holiday Jubilee Tournament. C.J. was also on that AAU team.
Yes.
So do you remember who was on that team? You, Mark, me, C.J., Leonard Jones, Stefan Slappy, Andy Goodwine. Remember all those names?
Wow.
We had the team. It was Asbury, Neptune, and us two from St. Rose.
Right.
That was
Okay.
it.
That was a
And
good
do you
team.
remember the time we had to go to that tournament up in Newark? We got on the bus, and it was the first time they played with international rules, and we didn't know what the hell was going on. The ball's going out of bounds, or just picking it up, throwing it. We're like, wait a second, what's going on? And Henry's like, God damn it, Zengel, just play, white boy, what are you doing?
Henry was crazy.
I loved Henry. I loved
Henry
Coleman.
was passionate.
Coleman with the cane.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I love those guys. I would not have wanted to grow up any other way. I'm so happy to be spending this time with you. So I don't know if you're allowed to do this or if you want to do this, Anthony, but I have black magic markers. If anybody wants a picture signed by Anthony of him in his high school days playing out of the Asbury Park Press, you can. And what was your official nickname in high school? Because I got Teddy from RKE hooked us up. He did us a solid. I didn't know if you were going to win that semifinal or not. So I didn't get you the shirt that I told you I was going to get you, because if I got it and you went to the chip, I wouldn't get to see you to give it to you. So I called Ted at RKE Athletic Lettering, huge supporter of yours. I said, Ted, he lost. I think he'll be able to come onto the show. What do you got for me? He did us a solid. So I want you to know that Ted from RKE Athletic Lettering put this together for you within a day. And I tried to order some stuff from Delaware, but they were all back ordered and sold out on the letters, the fighting blue bird you all have. I went to Villanova. Listen, I know what it is. I know what it is, but listen, man, I went to Villanova. We have a rivalry. It's some fighting blue bird you all have, whatever.
All right, Wildcats.
But
The Wildcats.
So what I did is we had this done for you, but I want to tell the story of the name on it because you were known. Your mother, I think, started calling you Sweet Curl or something like that. What was the first name she ever called you?
Sweet Knot.
Sweet Nut, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it was funny because me and CJ, we didn't know if it was what was it? K-N-O-T or
Yes.
N-U-T?
Yeah, so Sweet and Knot.
Now, why not?
Because we were playing football in the yard, and this kid, God bless his soul, he passed like for cancer like about a year ago. His name is Born Unique, named Smitty. He was running the ball, and then I hit him, and when I hit him, I put a knot on his head so big and knocked him out. And when he got up, he was like, Jesus, Sweet Knot.
Yeah.
And that's why Sweet Knot came.
So I always knew it to be Sweet Knot, right?
Yes.
And then CJ and I had a little play of words for him, our AAU teammate from Asbury that walked me to practice every day a mile and a half. When he dunked on somebody, I don't know if you know this story or not. So when we were playing AAU ball, and you remember the old Prospect Boys Club?
Oh, yeah.
I had a size 15 shoe at the time, the wall was right under the rim.
Yeah.
So if I was, am I lying? You tell this, and seriously, call me out on my embellishment because I'm 50.
I will call you out.
But if you remember correctly, if the ball went through the hoop and it came out, and I was literally, my ass was touching the wall, and I had a size 15 shoe, I was also in bounds.
Yes.
Okay? So that's how much room was left. So when I'd go in to make a layup or go in hard, these guys would pound you, and you weren't going like lolly-dolly into a grass field. You were going face flat into a wall, right? And that's where the blood came from. Am I lying?
Correct.
Right? So that's how we grew up playing ball. And God forbid, I could never call a foul in Asbury Park, in the boys club, with Hammery and Coleman as coaches and with you as the players. What would you have done if I called a foul against you? If I said foul?
I'd have told you to walk back to your mother without
me. He would have. So I never called the foul. It toughened me up, but it was funny because we all knew it was Sweet Knot. We didn't know the story, but we knew it was knot of some kind, right? We thought it might have been like his head was like, you know how you call noggins or knots or something, so we didn't know. But when you dunked, so you dunked on somebody, and we were scouting you guys. So me and CJ were watching you guys play a game, getting ready for you for the Holiday Jubilee, and you dunked on somebody and goes, oh, I guess you call him Sweet Nut now because the guy's face was right here. So from that moment on, CJ and I referred to you as Sweet Nut, and that we said we were never getting dunked on you because we don't want to be sweet nuts, right? So I had Ted make this up. It's in the Asbury Park colors. And we wanted the A to be, it's always going to be over your heart. Yes, and because it's my private joke with you, I had it be Sweet Nut, not Sweet Nut, because you're never going to dunk on my ass, Anthony. You're never going to dunk on my ass. So here it is.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much for coming. It's a double X.
Love, man. That's awesome.
I love you, man.
Love
Thank you
too.
so much for everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Wow.
So if you want, I don't want to steal all Anthony's time. He has about 20 minutes left to be around here. There's magic markers up here. If you want a little signature from the guy that got you your first NCAA tournament appearance, here's him pictured in high school. Have fun with it and just enjoy his company, everybody. Thank you so much for paying attention and listening.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Anthony, so much. That was fun. Jack, thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, when you dunked on this cat, CJ and I were in the stands together, we're like, listen, that Sweet Nut just became Sweet Nut, and he ain't never dunking on our ass. So every time in high school, when we were practicing, getting ready to play you guys and everything else, it was, motherfucker, you're going against Sweet Nut. And they're like, Sweet who? And we're like, just don't get dunked on him because you're going to get the show, boy.
That's awesome.
I really appreciate everything I really appreciate what you did for you. But that's the thing about life.
I love that you are still doing things, man. That's awesome.
So are you, though. So are you. But what I try to do, Anthony, is you paved the path for somebody you didn't really owe it to. You didn't know me. You just knew I wanted the ball.
I just love people, man. I've always been like that. I just love good
Still
people.
is.
Yeah.
I love good people.
Yeah.
I like being around good people. I don't get with negative stuff. I'm always with positive people.
And that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I reached out to you to call. You know what I'm saying?
I told you I'm trying.
Yeah, but what I really want you to understand, and Jack is a witness, what I'd like you to understand and take from this tonight is so we were 15, 16-year-old boys. At that moment, you set such an impact for me that I felt safe going to coach at Hampton University. So when Nickelberry called and said, hey Z, I got something, you know, before you take this job, you should know it's all black. I said, so what's your point? You know what I mean? Like, but without you in my life, without Mark, without Henry, Coleman, without that in my life, and I don't know if I would have turned out the same way. Because I would have been all around St. Rose whites that had that racism going, you know what I mean? Like, you paved the way. And I just want you to understand that. So if there's anything you take with life, like you just, in my life, as a 50-year-old man, I'm telling you, Anthony Wright was instrumental, picking me up at the corner, walking me a mile. That impacts my life to where it is today. And you played a huge part in that. Huge.
Yeah, but you were my good friend.
I was.
You know that?
I was. We were. It was. It was so fun. It was so fun.
That's what it is.
It was so.
Like that now.
And you know what, people? I wish. And you know, we should have talked about this. How hard did we go at each other in practice? We weren't friends on the court. We weren't friends. We weren't friends on the court. You would battle. You would bow. You would fight. You're bleeding. You know, not cursing so much. Oh my gosh! But the second, all right, Hamry, right? Coleman cracking his cane. Practice over. The second you stepped off those 4 lines, shit, we're good. We're good. We're bleeding out the nose and everything else. Yo, man, love you, bro. I mean, that's how it was done those days, right? Oh yeah. Oh, dude. I went back because I really want people to appreciate you for the person you are and what it took. People don't get Asbury Park. People don't understand. Like,
They did a big article on me. It was called Two Hard. They did an article.
oh, I remember that article. Yeah. And it outlined all of that. It outlined all of that stuff. That was a very long article. So I saw that before, but for me to read that article here would have taken me too much time. But he won an award for that article.
Yeah.
That was a huge piece.
Come on.
Perlman.
Yeah. Perlman did an article. Sports Illustrated one.
To the hard way.
Yes, to the hard way.
Yep. I loved
He
it.
was scared to come in my room.
Shit.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, you don't, because don't forget, practice time was the night. I could not have walked through Asbury Park with the St. Louis jacket on that time of night and come out of there without a problem. It would have a problem.
You would have made it too far. Oh, I know that for sure.
But people,
Even when you live there, you gotta watch yourself.
right, that's the scary thing people don't get. Even someone like yourself, if you got up with the wrong dude, you had a problem.
You gotta watch yourself everywhere. There was no turning your back.
So when you tell people that in an environment like this, they're like, oh, that's 2 50-year-old guys just talking about it. They're full of shit. Like, all right, come back with me in a time machine and tell me that shit. My mother wouldn't even drive in.
Documentation beat conversation.
Yep.
Come to Google Asbury, and I tell you what, Asbury is still maybe one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the state.
Murder rates.
Yes.
Murder rates.
It's not a joke.
Right.
You don't falsify that stuff.
Right.
So back then, it was
Well, the 80s to today? Oh, Anthony, I'm telling you right now, I think that someone was saying before, yeah, Bruce was in Asbury. I said, not in the mid-80s, he wasn't. Bruce Springsteen.
You know where he was at? By the water.
Yeah. The water or Freehold. He wasn't going up. He wasn't going Western Memorial. He wasn't going.
There's a track line on the east side.
Yeah.
You might get away with those things over there. You come across those tracks.
Yep.
Different.
Call me on Summerfield. Tell me how you're doing.
Yes. Bang Bang Avenue.
Well, come on and say hi to everybody. I don't want to take all your time. It's only about 15 minutes, but and do me a favor, Anthony, if you can, just sign a couple of these because I think it's fun for the people. Just sign a couple. If anybody who wants one.
Put that sweet number on it.
Jack, thank you so much for taking this.
Jack's one of my best friends.
That's all right. It's not him. It's all right.
Yo, any way we can get this thing? Is this recorded?